You are entering ENC's Pod of Awesomeness.
Okay, before we get going on the fact that you're unprofessional and you're calling in by phone, Birdman, because you forgot your little hockey stick Wi-Fi antenna, I'm back in the U.S., so this needs to.
Oh, he's got the goo.
Oh, I got my goo back.
He's got the goo.
I got some blue for you today. Oh yeah.
Get that goo. Get it. Oh, I can hear it going down your gullet. Disgusting.
Yeah. It begins. It begins, Birdman. I just ingested my goo. I'm ready to go. You don't even know. So explain to me, what's the deal? Where are you? What's going on? How come you're unprofessional?
First of all, it's none of your damn business, and I'd thank you to stay out of my personal affairs. I'm in Savannah, Georgia. It's a lovely little town.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
it is.
I decided to fly the coop and head south. The only problem is that I was in Florida, so I didn't exactly head south. Yeah, no, just want to go here for a couple. I've always, whenever we wrestled here, I always thought it was a cool little town, very pretty, nice people. So always kind of wanted to come back for a couple of days. So we had some friends in town, so we decided to get away for a couple of days and come up to Savannah and hang out for a couple of days. And I wasn't wrong. It's a great town. Yes, I went for a bike ride on Tybee Island.
I would pay to see you on a bike.
You know what? I think I'm gonna post a couple of my trick shots maybe on Twitter.
Oh yeah. So are we talking?
I'll pull off a couple of tricks.
So you're on a little BMX, is what you're saying?
No, I was on more of like a mountain bike, but that doesn't hinder me because I pretty much get on anything and just I can figure out the tricks. It's skills with a Z, as I like to say. Because you put a Z on anything, it makes it cool.
We'll put you on one of those half pipes at the X Games here pretty soon on a mountain bike.
No, I'm I do more road tricks. More style.
Freestyle.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Freestyle. That's how I roll. But yes, so I forgot my little Wi-Fi plug-in for my kit. So much like you did a year or so ago when you went on vacation, you also were unprofessional, so I figured I'd pay you back and see how it felt.
So you're going to pay the unprofessionalism forward?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
It's a very positive way to look at things. Birdman.
Yeah.
Well, Savannah. What? Hold on. I'm gonna tout Savannah some more. Savannah and Athens are to Georgia what Asheville is to North Carolina, what Austin is to Texas, all of Oregon pretty much. But Portland is to Oregon, Seattle is to Washington. It's very cool, young, vibrant towns, but also have history. So good town.
Yeah. I'm staying not too far from that park where Forrest Gump sat on the bench waiting for the bus.
Chocolates. Yeah.
And a little known fact about that is, now I'm getting into movie history because I did a bus tour, that when they shot that scene, they had to do it on the side of the park, and it's not true to real life because they would never pull up to let people on the bus as the same side as the driver. So they wanted the local bus company to just do it for the scene, and they refused to do it because they didn't want to hurt their reputation.
Oh,
because it wasn't right. So they actually had to hire make up a fake bus company or do something, but they had to outsource it and bring it in because the local
hurt their
bus
reputation.
Wouldn't do it. So
they couldn't do the job. Basically, it would make them look bad. Yeah. They got to stay strong. Yeah.
They said I don't have a problem doing it. I just don't think my character would do it.
My character of Gray Dog's bus lines wouldn't do it.
Yeah. So
there you go.
They're true to their Savannah traditions.
So far you've been doing tricks on your mountain bike. You've taken bus tours.
Yep.
Learning about Forrest Gump.
Yep.
You are a tourist, my friend.
I am. I have my fanny pack on.
Oh.
Floral shirt. Yeah. That's how I roll.
With a little shirt?
Like
what do you mean a little shirt?
Floral shirt. Like a Hawaiian shirt. Yeah, I wore a half shirt. I got like little half shirts around.
I was going to say like a little Daisy Duke action, like or
Yeah, so,
we're talking Jimmy Buffett, not Daisy Duke. Gotcha.
Yeah, so my midriff was showing, you know.
Not a good visual at all.
So,
with the dad bod.
Yeah.
Speaking of dad bods, so I get home after 6 weeks away. Lyric says to me one of the first three things that fell out of her little face. She goes, "Dad, you're as big as an iceberg." And I didn't know exactly how to take that. I didn't know if that was, she just hasn't had someone larger, holding her in a little while, or if, I'm just as big as an iceberg.
Well, you could look at the positive. She didn't say you smelled annoying, so
it's true.
It's
true.
I
could be an annoying smelling iceberg.
Right.
And that would definitely not be good.
Yeah. So, but we had a big weekend was in the world of professional wrestling, Edge. In the world of sports entertainment, because I don't know if we're allowed to call it pro wrestling. Are we? I don't know.
Yeah, it's our show.
Oh, okay. We can call it whatever we want.
It's always damn pro wrestling on this show. Bam! And I just slammed my blue foray on the bar top, which is my kitchen table. But,
did the goo splatter all over your hands?
No goo. I got no goo anywhere except down my throat.
Jeez.
So what'd you think of Survivor Series, Bird?
I thought, all in all, it was a pretty entertaining show.
But there's a big butt there. I can feel it.
No, it's not too big of a butt. I thought that the match I was looking forward to the most was the Brock AJ match, and I didn't disappoint. I thought it was the best match on the show. What'd you think?
Yeah, I was looking forward to the Usos in the bar. Maybe the most, along with AJ and Brock, but and I thought it was really good match. It's weird dynamic with the Usos right now because they're not faces, they're not heels, they're kind of somewhere in between, and it's cool.
Yeah.
But it can make for when you have a heel team with the bar, it's still a weird transition right now. But I really enjoyed it. I thought the finish with the dive into the tag was ridiculous. I thought that was super creative and reminded me of an idea that I've had for years that I never used in any of our tag matches. I want to do something where the heat was like, let's say they got the heat on me or something. We're baby faces. They set me up for a superplex and I knock the guy off. He charges, and instead of jumping over and doing something, just basically jumping off the ropes toward you in the corner and tagging. Just like diving off of the top rope to make a tag. I always thought would be a fun little hot tag without blowing your own comeback.
Yeah, it's cool when you can do stuff like that too, and sometimes it doesn't translate. But he got such good air, and like his arms were spread out, and you could totally tell that there was a tag made. Like so sometimes it's good in theory, but it doesn't necessarily come off the way it looks in your head. But I thought it was a great match, and I really like that they paced it well. I thought, because I thought some of the other matches were a little bit almost like trying to shove too much in. Yeah, almost.
Well, by their nature, because there's so many people involved, that's the way those Survivor Series matches can be.
Yeah. Yeah, for the Shield and the New Day, I was looking forward to that, and I thought that overall, I thought it was a really good match. But I just thought near the end, it got to be a little bit like, okay, there's an awful lot going on here. It was hard to kind of digest everything that was going on. You know what I mean? And I think that the right team, won it, and like I said, they all worked hard, and I thought overall it was a good match. There's like one little thing that and I've kind of touched on this before too, where like when I'm nitpicking stuff, and that's like Xavier Woods, like
okay, so we're now moving to the New Day match, is what we're doing. We're
I'm just all over the place.
I know you're a mess. You're hopping all over the place. I'm talking Usos, the bar. You're talking the Shield, New Day. Okay, so we're both agreed. Usos, the bar, great match. We both liked it. That's what we're saying there. Now you want to go back over to the Shield and New Day. Fire away, Bert. Fire away. Do it.
No, like I said, I thought that it was, it had a tendency. I thought there was a lot going on towards the end. I think I don't know if there was some sort of miscommunication or something, but I mean, at one point, and so when I nitpick stuff, it's just I try to put it in. Everything makes sense in a psychology sense. You know what I mean? And Xavier Woods, obviously a strong guy, little squatty dude, super talented, like him a lot. But he, at one point, he picked up Big E on his shoulders, and then Kofi went over top of him, and they did something. And then, to me, it just, I don't know, like when you have the power guy of your team in Big E, I just think it takes away from his persona, what he is to the act. When the smaller guy is picking up the bigger guy, it takes away from what the bigger guy does when he does power stuff, to me. And I might be looking at it wrong, but that's just the way that I see it.
I can see that point. I think it's just to, show another level to Woods, I think, but I get that point. It's, there's a reason that the Anvil played his role in the Hart Foundation and why Brett played his role. And they never really diverged from that. And I think,
right.
The Hart Foundation's the Hart Foundation, right? So it worked, obviously. But, I get your point. I think it got busy at the end, but I liked it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, no,
I thought it was a lot of creative stuff. The only thing I love the creativity of it. I was like, there's some really cool breakups of pins and things like that, like a spear onto Big E landing on, I think, Kofi's head, like just some really, really cool stuff. I did get a little lost with all the tagging stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if I watched it back, it was just to make sure that the legal person was in, but just watching it the first time, I was thoroughly confused. I was like, whoa, what is happening right now? Like what?
Yeah, because both sides seem to be doing it, right?
Yeah, and if I've been in there, I worked for 20 years, and if I was confused, I could see how maybe other people would be,
Yeah, I was the same way, and I was going to bring that up. I didn't understand, either, a guy would tag in and then just tag back out. It was very much... Yeah, I didn't understand that, and maybe it was just... But,
Bird, maybe we're just not that smart. You ever think of that?
Maybe we're just crusty old dudes that don't know what we're talking about anymore.
The business has passed us by, brother. We're dated. AJ and Brock, I really, really enjoyed. I love that the match made AJ even more of a... because with Brock's matches, it can go one of two ways. If he decides to, it can be amazing because he's super, super talented. But if it's one of those deals where it's like, okay, we're not going to make it seem like this person is necessarily on this level, it can be okay. It can be ho-hum. So I was glad that they treated AJ in the in the realm of, no, he works anybody and it's going to be what it is, which is great. So here's one thing I want to talk about with AJ and Brock that I loved. And it might have been by accident. It might have been by what AJ did to make it look more difficult. But for the finish, AJ went for a springboard forearm. He didn't just jump into it looking like he was going to land on Brock's shoulders. He actually twisted and torqued like he was going to throw the forearm. And I think that in turn made it more difficult for Brock to catch him. Or maybe it didn't, and Brock just worked us all. But here's the deal. Brock made it look difficult, and that to me means so much more than just a guy easily catching a guy and there being no struggle. That really doesn't... Okay, sure, you're strong, but to me, the struggle of it makes it mean more and makes it feel just more gritty and the little intangible things that make the difference between being a guy like Brock and just being somebody else. Brock could catch somebody easily, but he didn't, and maybe it was by accident, but I see him do enough of that stuff where it's like, oh, he could easily just yoke that person up, but he didn't. He made it look like it was work.
Yeah, and I think that too, at that stage in the match too, where he's been beat up a little bit, not a little bit. He's been backpedaling. He's been on the defensive. Then he shouldn't.
He's got a bad knee. He's got all of these things. Yeah,
right. So I mean, I think that, like I said, all those little things, and that's what we talk about. Sometimes when and it's lost a lot sometimes, or people are too concerned about what's next and being in the moment. And that's a perfect example of being in the moment and using what you have as tools to tell the proper story. Because sometimes when you're thinking too far ahead, you just get up and you start moving like you're fresh as a daisy. You're a minute in a match, and that's not necessarily how it should be. And that's not selling the drama of a match. And these guys did it perfectly here, I thought.
And as for instance, as a callback to what you were saying about Xavier picking up Big E, he did it easily, and it was at the end of a match. Yeah. It's a 6-man match, so they can be fresher, but still, imagine if you were going to do that and he picked Big E up, but it was a struggle. And
what if Big E was standing on the second ropes and he just picked him up on the shoulders from the second ropes?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then you're still getting to the same kind of cool spot they were going for, but to me, you're not taking away from what the power guy of the team is bringing to the table that the other guys don't bring, because that's what it is. Each guy is supposed to bring something different to the table, which makes the team unique. And if you're doing the same thing the power guy's doing, then it just, like I said, it just takes away from it.
Even more so than that, I was speaking to the point of like making things look like a struggle, even when they don't need to be, because that's what this is. You know, all of that being said, if you shoot me into the ropes, I shouldn't bounce back.
Right. Yeah. And
so, you know.
Yeah. And as I said, it's all nitpicking stuff. Like overall, I mean, the match was great. The reactions were great. Houston was ready for the show. They were a great crowd. What did you think of the women's title match?
I thought it was good. I got a little pulled away because Ruby decided that she wanted to be held a little bit, so I didn't. I'll be perfectly honest. I didn't give it the full attention that I normally would have. But I'll go back and watch it and make sure, because there are certain ones that I really that I want to see and I'll pay attention to. That was one of them, and I didn't really get to watch it the way I wanted to watch it.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good match. And I said it last week. I'm fans of both the women in this match. I thought it was a good match. I thought it told a good story, and I thought that the finish was well done. I thought that they both, showing frustration, especially on Alexa Bliss's part towards the end, was good. And I thought that they didn't go too far. Where if this happens again, there's still more they could do. They didn't go overboard just for the sake of going overboard. So I thought that was really smart as well.
Well, that's a match you can, I think, go back to, and with the proper build could really be a kind of a marquee match for that division. Where when you look back, you go, oh, okay, that was a pivotal moment in that whole the evolution of women's wrestling period.
Or like you
hate that women's wrestling.
Or like you said, that's a WrestleMania match. Who knows? Maybe it gets there.
Yeah.
We don't see it again until then, and so.
I also watched NXT TakeOver, which I don't always get the chance to do, or if I do, it'll be like a month or two later. And I hadn't seen much of Velveteen Dream. I just, you see or hear snippets or whatever, but I watched him and Aleister Black, and that kid's been working 3 years out the Velveteen Dream.
Yeah.
I mean, for 3 years to be where he's at is incredible. He's found a character. He's fully committed to it. It's parts Rick Rude. It's parts Prince, and it's fun. And I really enjoyed that. I mean, you can see there's little things, but he's going to be a player. It was really fun to watch. It was a fun match. I thought there was some really cool false finishes. I want to come up with a name for his finisher, the Death Valley driver with a cartwheel. That's way too hard to spit out. I think you should call it like the Velvet Hammer, or Velvet Revolver's already taken. But if the Velvet Hammer, or the Velvet something. Velvet Rose, I don't know, but I like Velvet Hammer personally because it smashes you, but it's wrapped in velvet. I thought there was some really cool creative stuff in there.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was a good match. Overall, like I said, I didn't watch the entire. No, I'm just saying. I get that it has to be different than anything else. It's good that it's different than Raw or SmackDown, right? Because you want it to have a different feel. Here's my thing. If anybody on NXT wanted to stand out from anybody else on NXT, if anybody had any interest in just going out there and being a pure heel, they would stand out more than anybody else on that NXT show. You know what I mean?
I think that's why Revival did stand out, is because they were heels.
On a lot of these matches, I didn't know who the heel or the babyface was.
Yeah.
And I just, like, there was no real set heat, and like, you know, we talked with this is awesome chant. You know, people get enamored by that. Like, oh man, they're going crazy because of this is awesome chant, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a personal connection. It just means, like we've talked about, that they get conditioned when they see big things that this is what they chant. Like in that Aleister Black versus Velveteen Dream match, if they had like a real set heat for a while, I think the crowd really would have gotten, not that they weren't behind the Aleister Black, but they would have been a little bit more of chanting his name, wanting him, because they were actually chanting Velveteen at one point. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which is like, that's not really the way this should be going. And it's like talked about before too with I'm not just nitpicking this match. I know what happened in this match, but it happened in a lot of these matches. And I see it even happen on Raw and SmackDown. And my biggest pet peeve right now in wrestling is, a lot of times it goes with, like, there's like certain trends in wrestling. Like a few years ago, it was I'm going to hit something in threes, like the 3 suplexes or the 3 Russian leg sweeps. That was kind of the trend.
Now, or, hey, I'll jump off a ladder on you.
Right. But there's this trend of, well, I mean, even the ladder thing is not something you saw in every single match, right? It was in ladder matches. But I'm saying is, like, a lot of matches now, you see somebody hits a big boot and it's a great kick, gets a good pop, like not pop from the crowd, like it makes a good noise. And if you sold that, you get more mileage out of it. People stagger back and then they get a mad face on them and they charge forward and hit the person with something else and knock them down. And to me, it's done so much that it really doesn't mean a lot. Like if it was used in certain situations, in certain matches, at certain points in the card, in a certain storyline, it would hold more water. But now it's done multiple times on shows that it doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, well, as for instance, with the Velveteen Dream and Aleister Black, I think Dream got tied up on the ropes, got hit with like a knee or something, popped out of the ropes, hit a super kick, and then got hit with another kick just to get knocked down. And the super kick by Dream wasn't needed in between. If he had just staggered and it took that second blow to knock him down, then it would have meant more. So yeah, I see what you mean. That back and forth.
Yeah, kind of, I mean, it's become a trend, and like everybody does it. So it's not anything, like I said, that stands out because it's just something that people do in a match now. It's just kind of become a spot. And
well, like anything that works, it will become a trend. Like I know the DDT used to be a massive finisher that would knock people out for months. You know, if they got DDT'd on the floor. And now there's amazing DDTs that are used as a false finish. You know, it's just the nature.
And again, that's not specific me nitpicking this match, but it's an overall thing that I've seen, like in the scope of that show and other shows. It happens multiple times, and both these guys are really talented. And you know, and like I said, we didn't have everything figured out our first. And they're not even up to our very last match. You're always learning and always trying to get better. So the learning never stops. And you know, these guys got bright futures. They're both really talented. I think that was obvious. And you know, and so they're both going to go pretty far, I think.
Yeah, and like I said, at like 3 years in or whatever, that's he's going to be a good one. They both are. But and the title match, I think Drew got hurt. I'm not certain he did, but it looked like he did. And actually, I'll find out later. I'll shoot him a text, make sure he's okay, because it looked like a bicep or something. One really cool deal that I liked in there, which was very reminiscent of the Hardys Lita thing, was when Zelina Vega came in with that.
Yeah,
I'm sure people are doing it, but I haven't seen anyone do it. So I went, oh my gosh, that looked amazing. That Spike Rana that she did on Drew looked so cool. She scrambled out so quick. It was so well done and well timed. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, no, I thought that was cool too, and I think I've seen Kalisto do it before, and I think I'm sure other people have done it. That's who I saw do it first, and but yeah, that was great. Good false finish. It's another instance too here where, I get it. I mean, the guys was trained in a different style, but if he had dug in and got some serious heat on Drew. Also, and then even that's something too with experience as well. Like if you're aware of somebody being hurt, go after it, and you get a little more vicious. But I thought that overall, it was a good match. I think the finish was surprising. I don't think anybody expected Drew to lose here, and I thought both guys worked hard.
Well, so that was the week that was. I know we're missing a whole bunch of stuff from Triple H and Kurt Angle, and then Paige came back, and there's all kinds of people running around that weren't running around last week. But I got to go do a turkey drive. I'm going to go hand out some turkeys. So I know we got some questions, but I'm gonna tout this because we're gonna hand out 1,000 turkeys today to some families that need help this time of year.
Great.
And we also have the St. Nicholas toy drive this year that we're doing. And so basically you have to go and sign up at Eblin Charities, and basically we can help you out with some toys for kids this year. I got all the info. You can go to www.eblincharities.org, or you can call 828-255-3066. And if you want to go to Eblin to sign up in person, it's 50 Westgate Parkway, Asheville, North Carolina, 28806. So, yeah, Bird, we got some questions to answer. We have some Q&A action, and then I'm going to go hand out some turkeys.
Toke
what do you think about that? What?
Toke turkey?
Toke turkey?
Yeah, I don't know. I somehow would nickname Lance Storm. We were driving together once. We somehow came up with a newer version of a Red Rooster gimmick, and it was a Tope turkey. So.
Tope. Oh, Tope.
Yeah.
I was like, Toke? What is he talking about? Okay, the Tope turkey.
Yeah,
that'd be good. The Red Rooster and the Tope turkey. What about? Gosh, there's got to be some other. We could come up with a whole Survivor Series team of bird colored themed team.
Yeah, but I could be on that team.
You could. I want to come up with something for mauve. Is it mauve? The color mauve?
Mauve.
Mauve.
I always say mauve.
Mauve. I don't know. We're Canadian. We butcher everything. Mauve. The mauve something.
Yeah.
I don't know enough birds. I know peregrine falcon. I know
the mauve macaw.
And indigo bunting. The mauve macaw.
Yeah.
All right. Enough of birds. We're killing it. So we got a couple of questions to the email sack, to the sack of email. And the first one's for you, Bird. Would you like me to read it to you? My question is for Jay. What?
Oh, man. Okay, go ahead. I'll read the next one for me. Go ahead.
Okay. This is from Max Brackeen. Brackeen. He sounds like he would have been Akeem's tag team partner. Okay, Max Brackeen. My question is for
maybe it was the love child of Brackus and Akeem.
Oh, wow, that's a really obscure reference. Malcolm Albright.
The kids today might have to Google Brackus.
Jesus, there's 10 people in the world that may get that, and I don't think any of them are listening to this. All right. My question is for Jay. I live alone, and I am a pretty selfish guy. I haven't read this yet, by the way. I've never had a woman or a pet live with me. My girlfriend has convinced me to get a cat since it's low maintenance and a good starting point. However, after seeing how distracted Jay is with the cats on the show, I don't know if I should do it. I mean, you're absent from the pod because you're tending to your cats. Shit. I don't know, brother. Is it too big a commitment? I haven't read these yet, so I don't know what I'm getting into when I start, but that was good.
That's a great question. And I'm going to say this. It depends. They can be low maintenance if you raise them to be low maintenance. That means if you show them very little affection or attention, they just kind of go about their business, feed them, they're good. We, on the other hand, before we had a child, treated them like children. So now they require a lot of attention. And two of them are in their senior years. And the one that you are referring to, Felix, has some issues. He's diabetic. He has hyperthyroid. And now he has a little gum disease that I have to put some like Oragel on his gums every day. So between giving him his medication, his pill medication, his shots for his diabetes twice a day, and now his Oragel, if you think that's not high maintenance, then a cat is for you.
Yeah, Bird, and all that work has to happen to Fifi, and that's let alone you getting your Geritol and ice and the Oragel that you need. So, I mean, that's a lot of Oragel.
Yeah, good thing I already had it on hand.
Yeah, so. You own stock in that company. All right, so this next question is for you too, so I'm going to read it to you again. It's from Greg Taylor. For Christian, I've heard through different reporting sources, well then it's got to be true, that you were upset about
sounds like a juicy one, Edge.
That you were upset about returning to TNA for the one-off appearance in 2012 in exchange for Ric Flair's WWE Hall of Fame appearance. Anything to that, and how did you react when they told you?
Oh, let me tell you something, Greg Taylor. Oh, brother, my blood was boiling, brother. I was so mad. I couldn't stand it, brother. I was ready to take this man apart. No, actually,
yeah, there you go.
No, I think I've actually touched on this briefly on this pod before.
Yes.
I wasn't upset. I mean, I was. I know that there's some reports that I was upset about it. I was mad. Honestly, I was. I'm not ashamed of my time in TNA at all. I've talked about it before. I was very proud of the stuff that I did in TNA. I enjoyed my time there. I thought TNA was at its best in the air, not because I was there, but I think it was at that time with all the talent they had. I mean, you look at the talent where those guys are. They were young in their career. There, look at where they are now. Guys like Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Bobby Roode. Even Kurt is back. So, I mean, and Kurt came not long after I went, but it did a lot for me and gave me a lot of confidence to move on and get me to where I wanted to go, to prove to myself that I could be a main event guy. And so for that, I always thank them for the opportunity that they gave me there. And Dixie Carter treated me very well. Was I surprised when I got the call? Yes, I was surprised. I didn't expect that to be the phone call that I got that day, and I was kind of confused as to what was going on and halfway thought I was being rigged. But no, I thought it was an honor that they asked for me in return for Rick, and I thought that was obviously a sign that I meant something, and my contributions to that company were important. So I didn't look at it as a negative at all.
That's kind of a weird thing.
It was a weird thing, and I know there was a ton of. Yeah, it was. And I know that, like, even on the other side of it, there was a lot of paperwork that had to be filed between both sides. Not just for me, I'm sure for Rick, but I know for me, there was a ton of paperwork that had to be signed by a lot of people. So it wasn't just something like, yeah, use him, and we'll talk about it later. It was a pretty big deal behind the scenes. So it was, like I said, it was one of those things that was kind of cool and should maybe even be talked about more than what it is. You know?
Well, yeah, because if you think of it in terms of like the significance, it's the equivalent. I mean, obviously, TNA is not what WCW was in terms of competition, things like that. But at that time, it's the closest equivalent to WCW and WWE, WWF exchanging a talent for the night. That never would have happened. So that's
never.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
pretty cool, Bird.
And and for me too, they, the way it was put to me is like, look, we're inducting the Four Horsemen into the Hall of Fame, and I said, stop right there. I said, first and foremost, I'm a fan, and as a fan, if I'm sitting there watching the Hall of Fame and the Four Horsemen are getting inducted and Ric Flair isn't there, to me, it's not the Four Horsemen getting inducted. He needs to be there. So I don't need to hear anymore. I'll do it, So
you know who else needed to be there, and I'm just going to throw this out there now, like Lex Luger, Ole Anderson. None of them were there, and that I always thought was a bit of a miss sight.
Right.
But so there's a question for me. Are you going to read it?
Oh, I am, brother.
Yeah.
Greg Taylor wants to know, for Edge, during your John Cena podcast, you talked about Unforgiven 2006 in Toronto. What was your feeling that as champion in your hometown, you entered the arena first that night? Were you in agreement? Was there an option given for entrance order? Is there ever an option for discussion on that?
I don't think anybody cares. I never even thought about it. If you had told me I came out last, I would have believed you. Doesn't matter. I'm a heel, so whatever. It's it's one of those deals, especially as a heel, where you just you go out. It doesn't matter when you go. It doesn't matter if you're champion. At least it never really has to me. I remember at the Royal Rumble when John and I worked, and I had cashed it in, and we're three weeks later we're at the Rumble, and I came out, and then he came out on a damn spaceship, and I was like, wonder if that's a sign of the finish for people. But as a heel, I don't want that kind of entrance. And it goes back to, why did Alter Bridge never play me to the ring? Because I was a heel. Yeah. And that's cool. Yeah. And that's awesome. And I don't want people to react positively when I come out. I don't want, Motorhead playing for me to get a massive reaction. I'm a heel. I want your massive reaction to be that you hate me. So that night it got a little lost because I got swept up in the emotion of it. And, I don't, there was never a discussion. There was never even thought about it. So there's your answer, Greg Taylor.
Yep.
Maybe Greg Taylor could be the Mauve Macaw. It could be Terry Taylor, the Red Rooster, and Greg Taylor, the Mauve Macaw.
Yeah, I just came up with another one. What about the Mauve Mallard?
Ooh, I like that better.
Yeah, I came up with that all on my own.
That was stolen from me.
I was going to say, as soon as he said, I came up with it on my own, that means Matt just texted to him.
The Mauve Mallard is, I'm taking credit for that one.
Oh, that's another T-shirt. We're going to have like 82,000 T-shirts if we really want to do this properly.
Oh, we will.
If we ever get one. Do the hosers want T-shirts? They should let us know.
Yeah.
I think they do.
Well, let us know.
Let us know.
Want to do a couple of these Twitter questions?
Sure, I plucked a couple of these out there.
Yeah.
Oh, and real quickly, are ENC podcasts available on Spotify? Yes, they are.
Yeah, everywhere pretty much.
Skippy.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, pluck a couple there, Matt. Pluck them and chuck them in our laps.
All right,
I'm going to put some more goo down my throat.
Lovely. The first one is from Richard Liverano, and he wants to know if Christian eating turkey would be considered cannibalism.
Oh, man. Well, here's the thing. What if I ate turducken?
I mean, that's almost like double cannibalism.
Yeah, that's like jail time stuff, right?
Yeah.
Lock you up and throw away the key stuff. Yeah, I think I'm going to eat tofurkey.
There you go.
All right, fair enough.
Right.
That's how you avoid that.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever celebrate double Thanksgiving from Mackenzie?
I have. You better believe I have, because that's one more excuse to be able to put, pumpkin pie in my face.
Well, here's the thing. As a kid, growing up, we always did, because my father is American. So we would always do a traditional Canadian Thanksgiving in October, and then in November we would do a smaller version of Thanksgiving just to celebrate the American one for my dad.
Nice.
There you go.
Boom. What? Double Thanksgiving. What is your favorite WWE Thanksgiving moment? From Joel Dalgleish.
Oh, Joel, I think I got to go first Survivor Series. From the Richfield Coliseum outside Cleveland, Ohio.
I think I speak for every fan everywhere when I say it was the gobbledygooker, right?
Oh, good point. But he's the bane of our existence on our TV show. He's evil, that bird.
Yeah.
Did you guys have a favorite Survivor Series team?
Hold on, real quickly. I just realized why the gobbledygooker is always trying to rain on our parade on the show. It's bird heat. It's bird jealousy.
There's bird heat there.
Holy shit, bird heat. That's like the bird flu? No?
Kind of, yeah. I guess it could be that. Favorite Survivor
grasp
Series
it.
team, you said, Matt?
Oh,
I always
yeah.
like the team name, the Rudes Brood.
That was good.
Yeah.
It was good. Yeah, I liked when they had creative teams instead of like the perfect team or or the Warriors. It's like, come on, Roots Brood. That's good. I don't know if I remember the team. It was an odd. Was it Texas Tornado, Ultimate Warrior, and Legion of Doom, or was it Tito Santana in a really odd placement? I don't know. I think it might have been Texas Tornado, Ultimate Warrior, and LOD. But that's pretty cool. And I think their opponents were like Demolition and maybe Mr. Perfect. That's a pretty stout, like, I get that. I could be completely misremembering that. Hey, guess what? Also, before I forget, guess what building got torn down this week?
Oh, the Atlanta, Georgia Dome.
Yeah. My last match. There it goes.
Yep.
Right out the window.
You should have went down there and grabbed a seat or a pebble or something.
A pebble?
Memento. Yeah.
Actually, a seat would have been kind of cool, actually. I'm not going to lie. But bye-bye, Georgia
Probably cooler
Dome.
than a framed pebble.
Probably. Oh, this is a pebble from the Georgia Dome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
good times, Georgia Dome. Good times. All right. Sorry. Any more questions? Or
we got one from SG who says, if you could pick a different finisher during your careers, what would you use?
Man.
I don't know.
There's one that before I think it was before Cody was using it, before Bray Wyatt was using it. I had wanted to use the Sister Abigail. I had seen someone do it, and then they left, and I was like, well, I guess that's open, and I just never did it. But I always thought that was a cool move that you could do to anybody, and safe bet it's going to look okay.
Yeah, and that's the key too, to especially with guys our size, not like Braun Strowman or Brock, who can literally pick anybody up, or Mark Henry or Big Show. The key is to have a finish that you could believably do to anybody.
Yeah.
And in that sense, with mine, I thought that was a pretty safe bet. I
did not go by that rationale. I don't know how I got stuck with the spear, but it just, I don't know. It got reactions, and that was that. Because
Jeff ended up taking it so good when you first hit him.
Yeah.
Got him out. I don't know. I never really thought about it. Man. I don't know, choke slam? I don't know. I haven't even really given it much thought. A small package, maybe.
There you go. Yeah. Or you just get rolled up.
Remember when we had?
That's your finish.
Remember we also had when we had the fake wrestling promotion when we were kids. We had a character named Paul Smackage.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Paul Smackage. I completely forgot about him.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So ridiculous, yeah.
I hope someone uses that on the indies now. I hope we see a Paul Smackage debut, and his finish is a small package.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah. Well, what do you think, Bert? We have our guest this week. And now, so we need to preface this by saying that this is a childhood friend. You won't understand a lot of these references. We don't really make a lot of sense because we're just having fun. Now, if you want to listen to three middle-aged men have fun and talk about their childhoods, that's great. If you want to fast forward until we start talking about the business again, would you say about 40-minute mark?
Yeah, I would say about 30, 40 minutes in. But yeah, here's the thing, right? It's us, and just to kind of to preface this for you, like Nick, Sinn, and I met in kindergarten. That's how far back our relationship as friends goes. And I think it's been at least a few years since we've all been in the same conversation. So the first bit of it didn't intend to be this way, but it was us just kind of reminiscing about our childhood. So yeah, if you're into hearing us tell stupid stories about ourselves as kids and the dumb things we did, yeah, stick around for the first part of it. If you want to hear just strictly wrestling stuff, you know, you can go ahead, fast forward 30, 40 minutes, and it's a safe bet. It's still, the wrestling part of it's really interesting too. You know, talking about his WWE career and developmental, and then moving on, and then trying to find himself after WWE, and his close friendship with Jake Roberts, and how he stood with him through some pretty dark times. So it's a really good conversation, actually.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, it is Sinn Bodhi, aka Nick Savekovich, CVJETKOVICH, aka Kizarney from WWE and from FCW. So, as Jay said, we've known each other from grade school. We all dressed up as wrestlers together for Halloween, and it's a talk of three guys that have known each other for their entire lives. So, be warned.
There you go.
I knew you had to. Okay. So, Nick, Jay, and I, Nick / Kizarney / Sinn Bodhi, we grew up together. We all met. You met Jay in like the 5th grade, didn't you?
Dude, Jay was the very first kid I ever met on the planet. He saved my ass literally in the sandbox. Some kid tried to swipe my Spider-Man doll, some little bully, and Jay stood up for me. I was really runty little, like itty-bitty little baby, and Jay, with his sweet gangly legs, came flying in like the stork of justice. I remember vividly, and fucking shushed this bully away, and like, here you go, bro. And then somehow we just kind of buddied up. And then I moved, and then we had no cell phones back in the 1800s, you know, like whatever. And then we reconnected later in, I want to say grade 4, grade 5-ish.
The stork of justice.
Well, isn't he?
That's going on a t-shirt. Yeah, that's going on a t-shirt.
Maybe minus the justice part, but definitely.
Yeah, just a dick.
He should be standing on one foot in a pond with a pink feathered coat.
He might be, because he's not back.
Well,
maybe that's what he's doing right now. And then fast forward a couple of years, you and I met in the 6th grade, and I distinctly remember this is one of those, crazy, weird Rain Man memories. So we were going out for Halloween, and I remember you and Jeff McLeod were going as the Rock and Roll Express. And
that's right.
Yeah, and Sean Pazeski, I think, he was wearing bandanas too, so I don't know he wasn't going as Orndorff, but I don't know if he was Rock and Roll.
Might he have been vying for the position of Hulk Hogan?
No.
As soon as you said Sean Pazeski, which is another name that I haven't thought of or heard of in forever. I just got a glimpse. I just got this weird, like, the Stranger Things kind of flashback of his forehead. Very daunting, big forehead.
Oh, look who managed to join us.
Hold on, I got
the fat stork of justice.
Hold on, I have to. I have floor problems with the guy here that's doing my floor. So he's looking for a certain specific type of grout. So I had to call the store to see if they have it. # rich guy problems. I'll be right back.
What a douche. He's in the same douche since after like post Spider-Man doll saving, douche.
Yeah, and then just turns into the world's biggest asshole.
Mm-hmm.
He even hashtagged it before he got off.
Yeah, what a douche.
See what I'm dealing with here? This is because you've been dealing with it. So as I was saying before, we're rudely interrupted. I was Hogan because Hogan was my guy.
Yeah, you were just constantly stoked. Had a metaphoric biz owner to be Hulk Hogan, which was cool because I was like that about Roddy Piper. So hey. I don't know how appropriate these little kid biz owner conversations are, but
yeah.
But
I don't want to say that sentence again. But
right. You want to put it that way. Talk about it like that. But
you were, I think, Robert Gibson. Jeff was Ricky Morton, and then You know who was Orndorff? Was John John.
That's right. Because he was built like Rambo since grade 3 or 4 and hasn't changed. And I'm sure looks exactly the same now. Like he is the guy that time has forgotten.
He still looks exactly the same. So our buddy John Posovac,
who's built better than all three of us put together, was the guy that didn't be a wrestler, right?
Yeah, the one-man posse, Vac. He we've talked about him before, but he was one of those guys that everybody grew up with that was just jacked from the 4th grade on. Like he was in his man body while the rest of us were just like running around like bags of milk. Like, hey,
he was our Patrick Swayze in Red Dawn. That's
nice. Whoa, that's a good reference.
Bam.
Or Patrick Swayze in The Outsiders.
Yeah. He's totally our Derry. I want to say Derry, Danny, Doodly,
Derry. Because Matt Dillon was Dallas.
That's right, and yes,
yeah,
yes. And Jay, the skinny-legged soda pop.
Who's Pony Boy though?
Oh boy, well maybe that could have been Jay, the skinny-legged Pony Boy. As long as you put skinny-legged in front of it, I think it'll be fine. Where were we?
So, yeah.
We were talking about something that probably led to something else that led us to skinny-legged Pony Boy.
Well, and what's so crazy about the whole thing is, like, even now, like, I almost forget that you have this long wrestling career, and it's
me too.
Well, but no, it's sheerly because, like, because we just all knew each other before, you know. Sure. So when I, you know, it's Nick, it's Fatty. I don't think of like the you know, the fact that you've been in the industry. Like, how long have you been wrestling now? Like 20 years?
99. Pushing 18 big fat years. Jesus.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Which is crazy to think of, you know, just because I don't think of it in those terms. I always just, and why I'm sure why we've all remained friends too, is it's just like, that doesn't really even factor into it.
Yeah. You know what? I think wrestling has no bearing on, you know, me, you, and Jay, as far as like, you know, being like caring brothers. I always like joke and tell like wrestling because I don't use the word brother because Hulk Hogan uses it, like Smurfs use the word Smurf. I use it because I mean it. And that's true. When I say it about you guys, I have it in a very different context because I don't look at it as like that fraternity of guys that are, you know, on these fun adventures. I look at it like, I mean, you and Jay are like Steven to me, you know?
Yeah.
Like you are like brothers.
Brother. And yeah, Steven is your brother. We have to clarify for everybody because it's not just you and me, and that's why Jay whenever Jay gets past his hashtag rich guy problems. Yeah, so we all go to you went to St. Andrews, I went to Princess Elizabeth, Jay went to Princess Elizabeth, but then we all hit high school and we all go to high school together. And by that point, you and I are sitting in French class. I remember it was always French class, and we would sit there and we would draw up these wrestling cards that were going to happen in the library outside the library off that one hall in the high school. And
by the steps.
Yes, and create these characters with all of the people that would come do it with us, you know. And
I don't know how you do that. Every time you just say like keywords like French class or whatever, and you just make things just flood out of my brain. Here's this is something that just happened just now. You made this happen.
I made this happen, Jay. You had nothing to do with it because you're worrying about your grout.
Yeah.
Yeah, F your grout.
Are we
French Mexican connection? The Mon Amigos. Just out of it. Just thanks to you and French class. Thank you. Freaks Wrestling, check.
So we're at the point where we're drawing up the wrestling cards that we're going to do outside the library by the steps.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick just remembered the Bonamigos.
The Monamigos? Oh, because we were talking about, you're probably talking about all the characters we had.
Yeah. Yeah, there was
Do you
Vicious
guys
Virgil
remember?
Van-
Do you guys remember being? You said Sean Pizeski. Man, I never even heard. Like, I hadn't even thought of that. Do you guys remember being in his room, and we all drew like on Bristol board and stuck like we made audience, and we like drew it on Bristol board. We stuck it to his wall. And we had it where our little wrestling ring, and we would literally argue over cards and like who was going over and who was doing this and who deserved a push and whatever. I think we weren't using those terms, but we were arguing about that stuff nonetheless.
It was wrestling politics back then. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, totally. Oh yeah. Corporal Kirshner for sure.
Well, here's
remember
another
all that
little
stuff.
tidbit of wrestling for you guys. I was blackballed from the Pizeski household. I wasn't allowed in. He didn't like me.
You were blackballed.
I was blackballed.
Wow.
Yeah. I wasn't.
I
even
remember.
allowed in.
Yeah, I remember.
I was barely allowed in
Probably
Clover
deserved
Farms.
Clover Farms. Oh my God.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, my brain is going to hurt from the nostalgia. You guys are pumping oxygen in the places my brain hasn't accessed in a long time.
Oh my gosh! No one is going to understand this podcast whatsoever, but it's
Right.
totally worth
There's
it.
going to be a lot of research, and people are going to have to do a lot of like, all right,
Clover Farms,
All right,
huh?
Clover Farms.
Clover
John
Farms was a
Pizeski's gonna get
grocery
a whole bunch of Facebook friend requests too, I think. John Pizeski is in for a bunch of dick pics, I think. That's what I think.
So real
Why am I
quickly,
getting all
I'll
these
try
dick
and
pics?
I'll freshen it up for everybody. Clover Farms was this local grocery store that this guy Sean Pizeski worked at as a bag boy, and I think his dad was the manager of.
His dad either owned it or managed it or something. One of the two.
Yeah, I think he managed it, but yeah, it was. So that was the Clover Farms. Oh my gosh!
And he could walk out of the back parking lot and through the gate, and their house was like right there. So he literally walked 10 steps and he was home. So that parking lot would always have like some kind of like baseball type games in the summer and street hockey or whatever in the winter, and all the kids would play.
And you were blackballed.
What's that?
And you were blackballed.
I was blackballed. I used to show up to the games, and he and I didn't like each other, but everybody went in the house to hang out and have refreshments, and I was never invited in.
You know what? I think honestly, I think it was a competition for my friendship. you were my one orbit, and then this was my other, and those two worlds couldn't collide. You know how they collided? The fat bastard we're talking to.
Me, MFers, me.
Yeah. And
Me.
here's another little
you were the fat gelatinous glue that put everything together.
Yeah, showing
Brother,
up in meat
I
pies.
was the adipose of peace and justice in our galaxy.
Well, here's the thing too: is that Nick and I actually went to kindergarten together.
We already touched on this, and you have been called the Stork of Justice.
Yeah.
While you were handling your grout, I was explaining what a hero you were as the very first child I ever remember meeting on this planet. I remember. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember that you saved me from some bully? He wanted my Spider-Man toy or something.
Yeah.
And you like pushed him down and said, get the hell out of here. And we kind of buddied up. And that's what I remember. That's the main thing of what I remember.
All right. Well, full disclosure on my part, I really just wanted to play with your toys.
I understand.
And I was mad he was going to take them away. They were really cool. We always had the coolest action figures, but then we became buddies. And then,
sometimes bad people doing good things. I mean, it's a trade-off in the galaxy.
But the funny thing is like when you're kids, right? Like back in that day, like now it's different with technology, right? Like Facebook, all these sorts of things, like FaceTiming. When somebody moves, they are not really gone. But when we were kids, when somebody moved, they were gone forever. They were history.
That was it. There was no contact again.
Yeah. And they're like, I'll write you. We'll be pen pals. And then you never heard from the person again, right? And,
pen pals.
Yeah. So
for all you millennials, that means when we write stuff on a piece of paper and put it in an envelope and stick it in a box and it shows up someplace.
Yeah.
Somebody else reads it.
So we, you moved after kindergarten, and I was fully expecting, because you lived out in the country and you were kind of in between Grand Valley, which was the town I lived in before I moved to Orangeville, and you kind of lived in between both, but then you ended up going to an Orangeville school the next year, so you never came back, and I came back and I was like, well, where's Nick? And you weren't there again. And I was like, well, man, you weren't there. And I was like, what's going on here? He's not here. And then I just forgot about you, seemingly forever.
Thanks, man.
And then, ninth grade rolled around, And I walk into the homeroom, and they call out your name, and I was like, fuck, where do I know that name from? And then same thing with my name, and then after class, we kind of were looking at each other, and I was like, you're, and you're like, you're, and then we're like, holy shit, and then we kind of became buddies again. And then,
I'll throw another time loop bender at you too. This was like super quick. Do you remember playing on soccer team in like grade 3 or 4 or 5-ish?
yeah,
I was on the rib rack team, and I think I got kicked off because I scored on my own net. It was awesome, and I scored on my own net. And I got kicked
Your
off.
dad was the coach. He's like, Nicholas, you fucking bonehead.
You son of a dad, you together, you.
You got to kick it the other way, Nicholas. Come on.
I just remember thinking, nobody's chasing me. Man, fuck, I'm not good. That's what I.
So here's what's crazy about that. You guys were on rib rack. That means, and this, I didn't know this. That means we played each other. Because I was on Mary Brown's, the best legs in town.
Yeah.
Right.
Mary Brown's fried chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mary Brown's. Oh, Mary Brown's soft.
That chicken on a bun with the pickle on top.
Oh, my God.
Gosh.
Yeah,
As weird as this conversation is going, I was just in.
Are you surprised?
Yeah, no, totally no. I was in Moncton. I wrestled one night for my friend's wedding thing. He wanted to throw some kind of weird buck and doe thing. He wanted to wrestle. So I'm like, okay. So we wrestled. Frenchie, he was like, you remember like Gary Williams and those guys?
Yeah. Well, man,
okay, so he was like one of the students of those guys. He's really good. He's good dude. Marcus Burke, very good wrestler. And so he's going to get married, and so he says, hey, he always like talks with a French accent. And I would give him heat about it and laugh at him, and he's like, I do not talk like a Frenchman. He even sounded like a Frenchman. He's like, Rah! So anyway, me and Karen, my love, we went to Mary Brown's for the first time in like 20 years, just putting around in town, and I ate Mary Brown's like 3 weeks ago. Totally.
You fat bastard.
Nice.
It's the end of my ridiculous story. It has nothing.
Oh, that was it.
But the end, I ate at Mary Brown's. It was awesome. I loved it. The end.
Well, I'm jealous right now. I am quite jealous. And also shout out to Wildman Austin, to Gary, because I know he listens to the pod. And
Yeah, hell yeah, he's awesome.
Yep, he's a good dude. Talented dude. Yeah. So there you go.
I felt like a little nerd because I love Gary. I've seen Gary here and there, just here, there, and everywhere. That sounds like the beginning of an olive poem. And he came and he was hanging out while I was doing a seminar in town that before the show. And it was really cool to have him go, holy crap, you know your stuff. Jesus, you smart. I'm like, man, this was a guy that I looked up to when I didn't know anything. And he was like one of my first matches. I was like, that was pretty cool. Yeah.
That's funny because when I first wrestled on the East Coast of Canada, and I joined the tour like a week or two after it already started. Adam was out there already, and I wrestled in the opening match Gary when he was just breaking into the business. Like he was like had like maybe a handful of matches, or this was his first tour or whatever it was. But I was wrestling. It was
his very first tour.
20-minute Broadways, not 20 minute, like 10-15-minute Broadways, like every, which is a draw. For the people not smart enough, brother. Yeah. So it's weird that happened too.
Look at
yeah,
that.
He's a good dude. It was really just neat. Like it was really cool to hang out and like we've been buddies, you know, and whatever. But it was just cool to have him like kind of show me. He's like, I just want to hear what you like. He's like, yeah, I'm happy to see you, but I kind of wanted to just hear what you have to say. And I was just like, holy crap. I was like, that was pretty neat.
Well, Jay, we were talking and I forget that Nick has had almost like this 20-year career in wrestling now, because it just, I don't know, it's always been like, well, it's fatty. It's not like, I don't know, because we all knew each other before we ever became wrestlers. So you know, growing up, you were always like, as I said, in French class, you know, it was Vicious Virgil Van Eat Me, and you would draw Vicious Virgil. And then... Then there was the Canadian cornflake, and you would draw the Canadian cornflake.
Tofu Stu Robertson. And we had,
with the nape drop,
Yeah, the nape drop.
I tattooed Stu Robinson not too long ago. How weird is it? All these weird, like, yeah. I think I tattooed a clam with a pearl in it or something on his forearm. I don't know. I'm like, hey, it's his body. I'm like, hey, man, it's your lifelong mistake. Whatever you want, man. I'll check it out.
Where did this happen?
In Vegas.
What was he doing there?
Wait, Stu Robertson was in Vegas?
Yeah, I think he I don't know. I don't remember. My timelines are usually kind of screwy, so I don't know if it was maybe during Cauliflower Alley or if it was just cuz. I don't remember. He was just there.
Does he live there, or was he just visiting?
No,
Vegas?
he was just visiting with his wife, and his wife allowed him to get tattooed.
Well,
so
how did he find
here's
you?
my question. Yeah, how does that happen? How do you run into Stu Robertson in Vegas?
I think he just messaged me on Facebook and said he was in town and asked if I'd scribble on him, and I said, yeah, sure.
See,
that's cool.
And
ask he shall receive.
Birdman, this is where you and I, it's like these newfangled things like Facebook.
Man.
That's how this can happen.
Yeah, it's blowing my mind.
Right.
We're dinosaurs.
Well, but how you're saying about as kids, we didn't have any of that Facebook stuff. So if we weren't around, we were gone. But I think I've been so used to most of my career has been independent stuff. So that makes you not just like a wrestler, but it makes you your own travel agent, your own doctor, your own booker, your own just about everything. So you have to be online quite a bit doing all that stuff with promoters and fans and different things. Nick really has no social media. It's all like Sin Crap. So there you go. So I think Stu just saw my Sin Crap and was like, hey man, will you scribble on me? And I said, hey man, yes.
Yeah, I remember this one time too, and like I said, we're going to be all over the place in this, but you lived out in the country, and your dad had a pretty sweet pad out there. He'd be like, bring the bozos in here, and take a run at the old man.
Let me show them the 3-inch punch.
Yeah, you bozos.
Is this the squash court?
No, this is different. Well, you can tell that one later, but this is a different time.
Okay.
So I think I came out and I was sleeping over at your place, and you had your bedroom was in the basement, and at the time. So you and I were down there. We were fucking around, and we were like, "Well, let's wrestle a match." And we just started wrestling, and we would take what we thought were bumps on the bed, but we'd wrestle standing up, doing what we thought was pro wrestling, and then and I don't condone this, so don't try it at home. But I
won't. You're talking about that.
I had you staggered. And I hit you with a beautiful Barry Windham flying side lariat. He used to kind of go sideways and then roll over to his back.
Right.
And then you decided to bump with your elbows out. And when I rolled over, you came down on top of me and your elbow hit me in the mouth and my tooth went through my lip. And then your mom rushed me.
I do remember that.
Yeah, your mom rushed me to the hospital and I had to get stitches. And then, I ended up coming back out to your house anyway, and that was that. But I remember sitting in the hospital, and we're all sitting there with your family, and I have to get stitches. And I was thinking to myself, man, this guy can't fucking work.
You would not be wrong.
Now, and you also say a beautiful Barry Windham style lariat. Yeah. I am going to guarantee that it was not a beautiful Barry Windham style lariat.
In my mind, it was.
Well, of course.
I've taken a beautiful Barry Windham style lariat from Barry. I was going to say beautiful Barry Windham, but that doesn't sound right. And yes, Jay's was just a tad lackluster, but I've watched a couple of his matches over the years. He has improved.
Thanks.
Do you remember, dude? Do you remember? And I think you would be happy for it. I hope Dieter doesn't hear this, but do you remember when you were going to ask out this girl? I can't think of her name. You were so shy to call this girl, and we were in your room.
I had no game whatsoever.
He was so scared to call. Her name's going to pop into my brain.
Yeah,
dude, what's her name, dude?
I'm not. I don't want to.
We could call her Mr. X just to keep her private.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I don't know. Maybe she's married with kids. I don't know. I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't know. But I remember you were so shy to call her. I'm like, dude, call her, and you're like, no, I can't. I'm like, do it. We start arguing, and I went to grab the phone, and you jumped on me, and we literally rolled around. We were scuffling all over your room, and it was something out of a brilliant action movie, or at least in my mind's eye.
What happened was I had a waterbed frame, because I used to have this sick waterbed, right? So that was cool back in the day. And I ended up getting rid of the waterbed mattress, and I put a regular mattress in the frame, so there was a big gap at the bottom because it wasn't as long. So there was a space there, and somehow when we were wrestling around, I got flipped over and I landed in the space in between the mattress and that, and you sat on me and I couldn't get out, and you dialed the phone, and when it rang, you threw the phone to me.
That's right. And he was screaming and he was cussing everything he could say at me. And as soon as I put the ringer up to his ear, and as soon as he heard hello, Like, hey, what's going on? What's up? What are you doing? He turned into like, I don't know, Billy D. Williams or something. I don't know. It was awesome.
Yeah, I ended up.
I don't know if he let me win just so he could get on the phone because he was scared to do it himself.
Oh, I was terrified.
I
was like, no, and you're like, just a phone call, man. Just call her. Just pick up the phone, And I was like, no, I can't do it. What if she doesn't like me and this and that? Like, well, you don't know if it lets you call her. And then, anyways, I ended up calling. And you know what? I ended up going out with her for 2 years.
So this reminds me of a story that has really nothing to do with that, other than the fact that
we're never going to get anywhere because we're going to find a million different offshoots of a million different other offshoots. That's how this is going to go. I have no doubt.
Completely, but this one you'll at least appreciate because it ends up with someone being stuck between a bed and a wall. So
right.
Jay and I are on the road. We're traveling with Kurgan. Robert Maillet, who, for anyone listening, he was the huge monster in 300. He was in Sherlock Holmes. He was in Pacific Rim. He was the master in The Strain. He's, super nice guy, amazing. Jay would always, go figure, I know this is going to be a reach for you to think of, Nick, but he was very annoying to Big Robert. And
that's peculiar.
Robert is the sweetest, nicest man in the world. He is an absolute giant, and he could tear Jay apart and use him as floss. So Jay would poke and prod while we were on the road with him. Finally, we're in a microtel, and Robert, he's finally had enough, and goes at Jay, and Jay moves. Robert gets stuck between the bed and the wall, and Jay just starts, like with all fours, jumping up and down on him and pushing him down further until he's stuck on the floor, and all I can see is these huge hands and these huge feet, and and then Jay takes off.
Oh, I hit the bricks. Yeah. And then I was like...
But it's the only business that I could think of where you're going to see this Acadian giant get like pushed down by a guy who's jumping on him on all fours and get him stuck between a bed and a wall. Because the microtel, they have those like concreted in bed frames.
Yeah, they don't move.
So he was stuck.
Yeah.
I can picture him totally. Yeah. He's like my Yorkie poo.
Well, which
always trying to establish dominance.
Well, but think it's the squash court all over again. With Johnny.
My dad talks about that just about every time I see them, which is rare. It sucks. I wish I saw them more. But when I see them, that's one of the first things my dad brings up. Do you remember that time that Jay and Johnny Newton punched off each other and Jay was picking on him? And oh my God, he can't even tell the story because he starts getting into that wheezy kind of laugh that he does, where he's just popping himself.
Well, your parents used to own a fitness center in our small town, and they did karate classes, and your dad was a black belt, over 35 grand champion, and he and we used to just take the sparring gloves from karate, and we would just go into like an outside squash and racquetball courts there, and we would just go into like an empty squash court. And we just like beat the shit out of each other for no fucking reason whatsoever. And the one time we went in there and we had the gloves on, and what did Johnny say? Don't hit me in the face or something?
Yes.
Yeah, he couldn't even finish that sentence, and you fucking socked him in the nose.
But even more than that, it was don't hit me in the nose.
Yeah.
He was very, very, because he had a little bit of a bigger nose, and he didn't want a big. Like I remember specifically. Oh, Jay, don't.
Well, let's just call a spade a spade. I mean, he's all nose. He's legs, arms, and nose. It's like Gonzo.
He's like, yeah, just don't hit me in the nose. And first thing, I drilled him right in the nose, and then it progressed from there. He would, and then he went to like he was gonna quit, and then he'd be like get pissed, and he'd come back after me again, and I would just hit him in the nose again.
Yeah, you just kind of rope-a-doped him and kept on dinging him in the nose, and he was getting hotter and hotter. And my dad's supposed to be like the mature voice of reason, and he just couldn't stop laughing. He's letting children beat each other up in a squash court with karate gloves on.
That's why you turned out so well.
Yeah, thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
But also, like, this is pretty pivotal stuff. We would always go up to Orangeville Squash and Fitness Center, which your parents owned. That's where we would watch all of the pay-per-views at first.
Yeah, because they had a satellite dish upstairs in the lounge area.
Right.
And your dad would come and open it up for us And to his credit, he would open up for us on a Sunday night when they were closed, and he would buy us pizzas, and we'd sit up there on the couches and whatever, and he would leave, do whatever he was going to do, or he'd do stuff in the office downstairs, whatever it was he would do. He would come back when sometimes he'd even watch with us, but it was he would every month he would open that up for us so we could watch pay-per-views on satellite dish.
Well, but even then, it wasn't every month. It was like there was 4 shows a year at that point.
Yep.
And I remember specifically, we would all gear up. It's like, okay, this is going to be Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, and we would go to your parents' gym and go up top by the juice bar, and remember those couches there, and we would sit there and watch the pay-per-views. And that was like, that's how we stayed in the know, was because we'd always go watch them there. Because, you know, for anyone now, this is like a foreign concept to think of, you know, you needed a satellite dish, and, you know, it was hard to watch pay-per-views then.
You know what? I think now that looking back at that kind of stuff, like seeing that stuff unfold so organically, and we had to like hunt to go find it, and, you know, we'd have to like bug my dad or wait for a video store, like when the next videotape came in or this or that.
Yeah.
All that stuff just made it that much more sweet, because it was like we had to really hunt for that stuff. It wasn't just so accessible.
Yeah. You really you had to search it out. You really did. And I remember that. Like, remember the video station. Remember and BJ Walker and his parents owned the video station, and I remember those Coliseum home videos and Most Unusual Matches and Volume 1, 2,
to this
3,
day, that
4.
Coliseum video theme is like my favorite. That's like my eye of the tiger. I could just like, I don't even need Red Bull or nothing. Like if I'm feeling sluggish, boom, Coliseum video song, and I'm in.
I would get so fired up. Yeah, and I remember too, I used to call whenever we'd get like like I said, we'd search out the information. Whenever we found out like a new, like best of WWF volume, whatever was coming out or whatever, you know, we'd read about it in a magazine or something. I would always go and reserve it for the day that it came out. So
yeah, you had to reserve VHS tapes.
Yep.
Man.
Just to rent it.
Yeah, I remember. What was it? I want to say it was like, it wasn't Sears or something, but right across from Mary Brown's, there was Seaside Fish and Chips, and then there was a place. I want to say it was like a Zellers
Consumer
or Keller's
Distributed.
where you'd order
Consumers. Yep,
Consumers Distributed.
Yeah, where we'd have to order like those wrestling toys, but from a magazine. We just have to hope that they came in.
Yeah,
and we would order that. Like everything was such a shot in the dark, and when we got it, it was so sweet because it wasn't so accessible.
I used to have to order back to school clothes from there, and I never even saw them. I'd be like, "Oh, that looks cool," in a catalog, and then you'd write that little number down, and then your parents would put the order in, and then like a week later when it showed up, you'd go to Consumers and you'd pick it up.
Or do you remember they had like the distribution center, which was across, and you could go and look at the catalog, write the item number in a little form, and take it up and hope that
that's what I'm talking about. That's how I got like these little LJN toys, or sometimes I'm like, I'd see new ones. I'm like, oh my God, there's Macho Man and Jesse the Body. Oh my God, I can't not live without these toys.
I'll tell you where the best place to get the LGN toys was at the time was Byway. They always had the secret stash.
They did. Right. You know who else? Economy Fair.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah, Economy Fair.
No one is going to understand this podcast.
My brain's going to hurt when I get off this phone. Oh, my God.
Nobody's going to understand this at all. Except
they have no idea.
You know, actually, who knows if there's anybody from Orangeville actually listening to this. They'll get it.
Yeah.
But everybody else does.
I think there's going to be a lot of dick pics going to Shomposeski, and there's going to be a lot of research on Clover Farm and Economy Fair. And
you know what I think happens, honestly?
Olives.
You know what I think happens weekly when this podcast drops? I think that a crowd gathers at Rotary Park, and they just play it over the loudspeaker, and everybody from town just kind of goes there and listens to the podcast every Friday.
That's the greatest visual ever. I can see it. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I guess Rotary Park, we should say, was like softball fields, but they had these outfield fences that were like made of plastic. And when you hit them, they bounce like ropes. And in our minds, we're like, oh, these are wrestling ropes because you can bounce off them and come back. So we would use those as like just that one piece of fence, and we'd do wrestling matches out there in the grass. We'd grass stain from head to toe and in our brand new pants from Consumers Distributing, and you know, but we were bouncing off. We had this fence that bounced like a rope, and we'd wrestle matches there, and we thought we're awesome. And I just remember that from Rotary Park, pretty funny.
Rotary Park, and then we all go to high school together, but then we all went to Humber College too and lived together. 10 Hepworth Lane. I remember the address, 10 Hepworth Lane. So we all lived together in college. There's 5 of us.
Just off Martin Grove.
Yeah, in Etobicoke. Etobicoke.
I remember the address of the house, but I just remember it was off Martin Grove.
Yeah. It was 10 Hepworth Lane, and it was a townhouse. And
Snatch Cave.
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
And there was
more research for the fans. More research.
There was you, Jay, me, John, and Johnny, and then Alex Golick and Ken Dory basically ended up living there too. So you have 7 dudes, more or less, living in this townhouse that is tiny, but still somehow had 4 rooms or 3 rooms upstairs
like
and the basement. Yeah.
Remember Johnny be in the basement tripping balls, and we'd like freak him out. We'd like sneak down there and squirt guns at him, like little water guns, or throw paper airplanes or something. And he'd go, what is it? Oh no!
I remember like he went through this phase that none of us went through, and I remember I had a pea shooter, and like it was just like like the old the pen casing, and you know how you do that in school where you'd like chew up a little piece of paper, roll it up, get it all wet, and then spit it through.
Yeah.
And I remember doing that onto the ceiling above him, and they would stick there and then fall on him while he was lying in bed because we were in the laundry room shooting pea shooters onto the ceiling. It's so weird.
Remember we had those little blue weird sort of like pump handle little water guns, and we would do that too, like above his bed. We'd squirt those paneling pieces above his bed, and it would just drip on him. And he'd be like, "What the fuck? I see you, fuckers."
I remember too, we also used to take a mattress and down the stairwell there was like that little opening, and we would jam like a mattress in that doorway, and he couldn't get it out in the morning. You just hear his voice, "Hey fuckers, let me out. What the fuck?" We stuck down there until we went and pulled it out.
I couldn't care.
I remember getting John mad at I think me and Jay would mostly be the culprits of this, but we'd wait until he was like pooping, and we would walk up the stairs so we could look under the crack and we'd see his feet, and we'd start saying, "Johnny, I can see your feet."
In his mom's voice, because they do it in his mom's voice.
Yes.
Johnny.
Yes, that would explain the squeaky voice for people listening. Yes.
Now, do you remember?
And he would get so angry.
Yeah. Do you remember? Because Jay and I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. That Jay and I got in a fight in that house. And it's one of the few times where, and it wasn't really a fight. I think we just scuffled or whatever.
Just wrestled around, yeah.
And I think it was over Sega Genesis hockey and Jay being a complete dick. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. I remember we all were kind of up on each other at some point somewhere.
Yeah.
But I remember everybody was usually mad at Jay. Jay was always the catalyst for chaos. There's a little pool table.
Chaos.
I remember even Johnny would get mad playing that little midget pool table, that tiny little thing, and Jay would be so taunting, and you'd just see the smoke. He was like Yosemite Sam, like smoke coming out of his ears. He would get so hot.
Yeah. So far on this pod, you have coined the terms the stork of justice and the catalyst for chaos.
Yeah. And the other thing is too, like, well, in Genesis, what I would do is, because I was pretty good at the game, I would always take like the worst team, which at the time was Ottawa, on the game, and you could be the actual players on the team, and I would give everybody a nickname on my team, and one guy whose name was Jamie Baker, and I dubbed him the goal maker, Jamie Baker, and then every time he touched a puck, I would call him that. And there was another guy that was Sylvain Turgeon, and I would call him Turgeon the Jets. And every time he touched back, I said, "Oh, Turgeon the Jets, something exciting's about to happen." And then I remember Pasternak would get so mad when I would do that to him.
Yeah, he would get so angry at you. He wanted to beat you up every day. He would never, because he's so nice. He was like, I just remember the three words were like, "Fuck off, Jay." I just want to hear those words every day from somebody.
I was working on my heel.
I remember. You know what I do remember? I remember feeling so upset. I felt so bad that me and Adam had an argument. I don't even remember what it was about, but it was something stupid, just some dumb something. And I remember like we're gonna like punch each other out for whatever reason. And then somehow I had my car keys in my hand and I threw them and they stuck in the wall. And I remember Jay going like, "Hey, like aside from you guys fighting, like that was kind of pretty cool. Like, look, those keys are sticking in the wall. Like that's some ninja shit." And we all kind of looked, and I think that kind of saved us all from having some big meltdown and fighting each other, if I remember it somewhat correctly.
I don't remember that one. What I do remember, though, is you and all of us learning that you cannot drink Jamaican rum.
Right.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember this one, Jay?
Yeah. Well, I do remember it because, and then Nick got a little inebriated, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And Nick, who is like the most peaceful, nice, like gentle human being, right? Not when he drinks Jamaican rum.
Oh, he got crazy.
You got nuts. And then I remember you like just trying to fight everybody. We're like, whoa, what is going on? And all like looking at each other and laughing and like calming you down and like petting your head and trying to soothe you and everything. And then
I remember saying to you, Nick, just pretend you're on the roller coaster. And you started laughing like, the roller coaster. I was like, is it fun? You're like, yeah, I'm on the loop-de-loops. And then like, I guess you're.
I remember Jay doing that kind of gigglingly, talking me through
being on a roller
calming
coaster.
Down, and somehow, he kind of painted a picture of me being on a roller coaster. I think I was like laying on like the kitchen table or something.
And then somehow I coerced you that it was time for you to go to bed, and at which point I snuck in when you passed out and I shaved fat on your on your leg.
We both did.
You guys did, and I don't think I noticed it for like.
No, you didn't.
You
went away somewhere on vacation right after that, and you came back, and that was before cell phones or whatever. You came back and you're mad. You're like, you fucking asshole! I was at the beach with my girlfriend, and I looked down, and this is fat on my leg.
So here's what I remember from that. I remember coming in and putting you on your side and putting books behind your back because I remember thinking, oh, Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, they all like choked on their vomit. I don't, So I remember specifically doing that, and then we shaved fat.
Well, a nice gesture, can always be like equalized by a comedic gesture, I suppose.
You getting back and saying you didn't see it until you got on the beach, which I mean, it's kind of
pretty classic.
Yeah, I mean, it couldn't have played out. I can't get hot about it because, I mean, that was quite, like, it worked out pretty awesomely. Yeah. But, 500 years later, it's never too late for a receipt, so.
No. Well, it's funny from that house because that's, like, my memories of being there were obviously the fun that we had and the laughs, and we're like, this was, like, the first time any of us had really lived away from home, so it was exciting in that sense, too, that, hey, if we wanted to, we could stay out all night. We could do that. And it was, but the cool thing for me was that's also when I started wrestling and like wrestling training. So the weekends, and just thinking about it, that, and then the going to school and the fun, and then like getting out there and starting to work shows, and then, learning that you had started to train a few years after we did. Like you even kind of hid that from us that you were training. And I don't even remember how we found out or why it was that you didn't tell us, but it was quite a few years. I mean, I think we were in WWE already when you were starting to train. Is that right?
Yeah, I think I remember telling Adam, you had to have already been there at WWE or WWF or whatever it was, and I think
so because
kind of said, "Hey, I was training or something." I think I kind of wanted just to be half decent at it before I showed you guys because I think I didn't want you guys laughing at me or something. I think I want you guys just to kind of be proud, not to sound corny or anything, but
yeah. Well, you said 99.
I'll give you guys a corny moment too. It was honestly, it's actually Jay's inadvertent fault that I became a wrestler because when you did that essay thing with Ron and you got to go, I mean, you were way bigger than me and Jay. Like me and Jay were pretty runty at that stage of the game, like the last end of high school or mid whatever it was in high school. And then you kind of shot up and you were, 6'4" or 6'5" or whatever. And so it all, that just seemed like that made perfect sense in the galaxy for you to go do that. And then me and Jay really wanted to do it. And I think we kind of discussed that, well, if we get into college or not, then we'll kind of go from there. But Jay was braver than I was about it because he was set no matter what was going to happen. And I just remember thinking, like, I'd only ever seen smaller wrestlers in like the magazines where I never really equated that they were smaller, like Rock and Roll Express or whatever. But I mean, I only had ever seen Saturday morning WWF or whatever. I didn't see cruiserweight stuff or Mexican stuff or Japanese stuff or any kind of thing like that. So I just figured, my brain told me you have to be like 8 feet tall just to be like a referee. So I thought, whatever me and Jay were, 6'1", 6'2", over 200 pounds, I still thought I was way too scrawny to be a wrestler. But I was bigger than Jay, and if that pipsqueak can do it, then fuck, I was going to go do it. And so Jay did it, and I was just like, fuck, I was super proud that he did it, and it gave me the courage to go do it, because I probably wouldn't have, as much as I loved it, I probably wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for Jay.
You mean bigger, you mean fatter, or? That's pretty fucking
Yeah.
So fat, so fat.
Yes, but yeah, that's my one nice thing I'll say about Jay today.
All right, now that we're talking about wrestling, we got to go into your relationship with Jake. Tell us how that all came about, and your relationship with him.
Okay, so you guys remember sitting on the couch, staying up, trying to stay up late, watching Saturday Night's Main Event, and we watched organically as it unfolded, not years later on DVDs or as my dad would say, the email or the Wikipedia. But we were watching as it unfolded, Jake DDT steamrolled on the concrete. And I remember you guys getting really upset. It was like seeing like our hero twitching on the ground. And I just remember thinking, man, I want to be that guy standing up, slithering around, not the guy, selling on the ground. And I just, ever since, I was like, I have to know everything about this person. And I was hot, wondering about, like, why would they make this little LJN toy with his hands up where he couldn't DDT anybody? And I just remember thinking that was the first little basis of wrestling psychology I think I had. And so fast forwarding, years later, I get the opportunity to wrestle him in England. And I'd heard, horror stories about him, and I didn't know what to expect. And I just knew that whole don't aspire to meet your heroes kind of a thing. And he was a pretty big dickhead when I met him, but we had a really fun match. And then, that was that. I remember I just wanted everything to go smooth, and I learned so much from him. And even though he was being a jerk in the locker room to me, I was just some new guy, whatever. Yeah, we had this really fun match, and then I thought, okay, everything's good, and then it was come time for me to take the DDT, and I wasn't worried about getting my neck broke. I wasn't worried about getting my teeth kicked in. I was just worried about not doing it wrong. And so I took the DDT, everything goes good, and then the most painful thing happens. I roll over, and all I hear is, thanks, brother. And then I feel like his steel wool, man, 5 o'clock shadow rub against my nipple back and forth. And all I hear is this cool, scary guy turns into Beavis and Butthead. And I just hear, and he thought it was the funniest thing. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't move. I have to dead sell this DDT. And it lit me up I can't even tell you. So that a little sidebar of just silly shenanigans. I have nothing to do with anything, but, moving along, I ended up wrestling him here and there, wherever, and he was just like, hey kid, you got a lot of potential and you look crazy, all this stuff. He goes, why don't you come on the road with me and let me help kind of polish you and get you ready and hopefully try to get you hired with Vince. And so he goes, come on down to Florida. And it was weird that, dude, remember when we stayed at my grandparents' little cottage in Florida?
Yeah.
And we almost killed Jay because he stole the last soda pop and we're going to die, but that's a whole other story too. But man, all these stories are flooding in my head. My brain's on overload talking to you guys about all this stuff. So anyway, Jake was living exactly 1 block away from where my grandma had her place. So I just thought that was really kind of weirdly, cosmically, I don't know. It was just neat. It was just interesting, how everything kind of wove together.
Yeah.
And we started riding together, and he taught me stuff and explained things. And I remember sitting on his couch, and he would zip and flip through matches with him and Steamboat or DiBiase or Rick Rude or whoever. And he would be like, well, this is what I was thinking here, brother. And this is why I did this. And if you notice this and look at this. And I saw stuff in such a different light. I was like, this is what he was up to. This is what he was thinking. And I was just so intrigued because I remember out of all the wrestling characters that I was ever so enamored by, it was just Road Warriors were scary and the Wild Samoans were scary, but Jake, I was so freaked out to just go, where does this guy go after he's done wrestling? And so it was just really neat to get inside his head. And then before long, how you were saying at the beginning of this, I didn't look at it as Jake the Snake anymore. He was just my buddy Jake. He was kind of crazy older brother, kind of crazy uncle. And and out of all of the stuff that he's ever been in and out of, and all the great stuff he's done in the ring, and all the crazy stuff that he's done, in his real life, and this and that, he's always been super, super sweet older brother, as far as where I was concerned. So I've only ever really seen the good side of him. So I mean, I just have nothing but nice stuff to say to him. And I'm impressed that he's been sober for so long, and I know he's got a whirlwind of stuff to like drag him down, and he doesn't, and I think that's really, really awesome.
Well, and that for you, having all that time with Jake, is the equivalent of, he was your Hulk Hogan. Like Hulk Hogan was my guy, he was Jay's guy, Jake was your guy, and think about how cool it is. The fact that you've had all that experience with Jake and got to sit there and like pick apart matches with him and pick his brain. I got to team with Hulk Hogan and win the tag team titles, and then the guys who beat us for the tag team titles, Jay was in that tag team. Think back to us.
And I got hulked up on, which was the best ever.
Dude, when I watched that stuff, I was like, I felt like a little kid jumping up and down watching you guys doing that stuff with Hogan, especially because I knew, I remember being at your place. Maybe it was your place or Jay's place. I can't remember, but I remember you would get so mad at us if me and Jay scuffed your Hulk Hogan doll.
Yeah, you didn't scuff Hogan, man.
And as soon as you turn around, me and Jay would climb the Hulk Hogan doll extra hard. Yeah. So that's a confession for everybody to know right now. So, Jay, I hope you're holding touching distance of that.
I'd see the new chips, and I'd be like, sons of bitches, and then yet Jay can't be a Hogan fan.
But I remember, I felt like that little kid playing with those dolls, watching you do that, watching both of you guys do that. Because I was just like, hell yeah. I was like, again, just not to sound corny, I was just like, this is awesome. Like my bros get to live this awesome dream. Like I saw you guys do so much cool stuff, but I just knew that was like one of those things, especially for you, was like, that was like some kind of weird bucket list thing of like, this is awesome. Like who can say that they've, played guitar with Elvis if they're an aspiring musician, or, whatever, driven a motorcycle with Evel Knievel if that's what they wanted, so for you to be in the ring with Hulk Hogan, I just thought that was just like, man, everything's pretty cool in the universe right now.
Yeah,
I love the fact that your references were Elvis and Evel Knievel.
A question too that just kind of popped in my head when you were saying, there's the saying you should never meet your heroes. And when you met Jake, and obviously he's a good friend of yours to this day. I mean, you guys have the wrestling school together and all that sorts of things. And you've traveled with him a lot for years and spent a lot of time with him. But there also was that time period where he wasn't doing well with addiction and things like that, and you very easily could have just been like, you know what? Yeah, you shouldn't meet your heroes, and like this guy's like not what I thought he was, and just kind of went about your business, but you stuck it out with him being his friend, and I think that shows what kind of person you are. First of all, what was it that did you see past that, and you're like, man, there is this guy in there that I see all the time that maybe other people don't see, and you just wanted to be there with him to help him find that, or
yeah. Well, especially in life, as is in the wrestling business, there's nice dudes and there's like sharks and whatever, and whatever he's ever been up to in the past, I wasn't there for that kind of stuff or whatever, but I've seen him at his best and I've seen him at his worst, and I didn't judge him. I just thought it would be the same thing as like if you showed up at my house, in trouble, I really wouldn't ask any questions. I would just try to help you. You're my brother, and I would just try to help you. I would assume it would be kind of like the reverse, so I just kind of did that for him. I just thought, I think we became buddies because, I'm not Mother Teresa by any means, but I just think that he figured I was kind of his sort of window to nice humans. I think he was surrounded by so many shitty humans that he was very, very jaded, very despondent, and I just thought, what can I do for my hero except just be a nice guy? That's all I just kind of figured. And it's weird, because, me and Adam have talked about this, a long time ago and whatever about, Adam and Edge were very two different people, where Jake and Aurelian are not two different people. So I've got two close friends that have such different trains of thought. I was somewhere in the middle, where Nick and Sinn are that's kind of 50-50 split. I don't turn it off or turn it on. I reference both, it's sort of one and the same, but I'm not so much like how Jake is. I see moments of Aurelian, which is a sweet, really kind of timid, sensitive dude. And then 90% of the time Jake is on and he's kind of being the class clown because I think that's what he expects. He expects that's what people expect.
Yeah.
So I think just almost like those weird personal dynamics, it was sort of what made it easy for me to sort of bond with him. And he got really mad. Well, he laughed and got really mad all at the same time. I referred to us as like Bela Lugosi and Ed Wood, and he chased me around the room laughing and you motherfucker, whatever. And it was pretty fun. But there you
go. So you want to what from there? So you're with Jake. You're learning off of him and everything. Finally, you get WWE. What was your take from it? Because I know because I was right there with you, and thankfully we got to actually travel for the first time together in like wrestling terms, which was, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was a weird time for me too because I was gone at that point, and I remember that I had just come back, and you were still you were there, but not for long after that. So yeah, I didn't get to see too much of it, but it'd be interesting to get your take on it.
I remember thinking, like, as a little kid, again, when I walked to the ring, whether it was at a house show or if it was down in Florida or a dark match or whatever, I remember just thinking, this is like, now I'm inside Sean Pazesky's little wrestling ring. We are those toys. And I was just like, this is awesome. I loved it. I fully loved it. I hated being saddled with a silly, a name and all that shenanigans, but I could kind of bear with that if I was going to live out my dreams with the stupidest name in wrestling history, so be it. I was happy to be there. But my biggest thing, I don't know how I can keep on slipping into like corny stuff, but my coolest thing was just like, I get to kind of play with my friends again. This is high school all over again. That's how I looked at it. And
it was back to French class, and
totally it was yeah.
But instead, we're sitting on
Mexican Express. Okay, Mon amigos.
But instead, we're on a plane flying back to Tampa and busting Colt Cabana's chops because we've known each other forever, and he's just like, I don't get any of these jokes, guys. I think you're making fun of me, and I don't.
Yeah, I'm the dreidel without a paddle.
Thanks.
I remember sitting there on that airplane. I remember Iggy and the pilot to say something stupid, like to piss off Colt Cabana. And I remember I was sitting next to you, and then I don't know however many seats up was Colt, and then Billy Kidman was like a couple seats ahead of us. And then all you hear is the pilot like, okay, we're going to be traveling at 3,000 feet and this and that and blah, blah, blah. We're going to have coffee services and blah, 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 and down the dreidel without a paddle, and everybody enjoy your flight. and me and you just looked at each other like, because we were all so tired, and just looked at each other, and then I just remember it was kind of stone cold silence, and then all of a sudden Billy Kidman just like in a really belated or blade, like just he went ha and just started fucking laughing, and then I'll remember Colt Cabana reaching back from like the airplane and just screaming at us what assholes we were in front of like that whole time was like super fun to me. It was weird. It was super fun and super stressful all at the same time. Like I wanted to be there. I loved that I was there. I didn't like when I kind of got stuck in, which was weirdly, ironically, it was me, but it was not me. Like, if that, I think maybe you kind of know what I mean. I don't know, but it was, because weird.
We had those discussions. It was like, it was a form of the gimmick that you were doing. So I think everybody had like the best intentions by doing that, but then it was this weird, like, only want you to speak in Carney and your name will be Kizarney and everything. And I remember thinking, oh man, okay, this kind of puts him behind the eight ball a little bit. Like this is going to be a tough one to try and make work. And to your credit, you tried.
In Florida, thanks, man. Well, in Florida, like, okay, I was wrestling as Sinn Bodhi, which I looked like Kizarny. That's how I chose to look. So I was fine with that. I was comfortable with that because it was my choice. But how I was, performing was I would be scary sometimes, I'd be funny sometimes, just depending on what the situation was. But for the most part, I was kind of scarier. And Dusty was my producer for quite a bit of that stuff. And then he would let me, wrestle scary, be scary, and then just say some nonsensical Carney at the end of the promos. So if I was talking about Colt Cabana or whoever, I'd say something, somber and this and that. And then I'd finish off with like Sally sold seashells by the seashore. I just say it in Carney. So you didn't have to understand what I said, and it just sounded creepy and weird, and that was that. And so people were having fun with it. They liked it. I was a fun bad guy. Like I was a heel, but I was I guess, like a fun heel. And so I think when Vince saw that stuff, I think he mistook people like hearing that I was a fun bad guy to watch for me being a good guy. And he was dead set on me being a good guy. And I just, again, I reference and remember, like, I remember going to Maple Leaf Gardens with you guys just 100 years ago. I remember wearing blue sneakers and Zubaz. I remember that. And I remember us watching Shane Douglas in a dark match. And we didn't know who he was. He was just some baby face with bleach blonde hair and like a bleach blonde mullet and pink undies. And he wrestled. I don't remember who he wrestled, but he wrestled maybe Brawler or something. But he was in there with a guy that we knew that was a bad guy. And Shane was the new guy. But even though he was shaking his fist and smiling, everybody just knew he was a good guy. So you're supposed to cheer for that guy. Whereas that is just not the landscape now, or especially, you know, or when I made my debut of like, you know, I can't just be spit out there against a guy like MVP who is a credible guy and he's been through different storylines, you know, babyface and heel. So they know him, good, bad, or indifferent. They know him. They don't know me. So I can't just go out there and shake my fist and smile. I've got to go out and earn it. And I'm happy to go do that. But I think when people, like, it's all that Roman Reigns stuff, like just because he got shoved down everybody's throat, you know, they always chant crappy stuff at him. He's a really good wrestler. But they kind of pushed him really hard, really quick. And now we sort of stuck with that whole, like, we hate you vibe, even though he's a really good wrestler. You know, so I think before I had a chance to earn it, they kind of shoved me into this thing where they're expecting me to be that Shane Douglas babyface or I don't know what, just some kind of good guy where I just figured like, hey, let me earn being a really fun bad guy. And if they enjoy watching me be a bad guy, as soon as they enjoy me, then I'll kind of by proxy be a good guy. And then Vince will be happy because he wanted me to be a good guy. But none of that ever got to play out because just, I don't know, for whatever reason, you know, they clipped the wings and that was that. But I remember too, like I remember being really upset, thinking like, do I suck? Like, am I just that bad? And nobody's got the heart to tell me. And I remember Colt Cabana was really cool. He came over, he goes, you do not. You are a really good wrestler. He goes, you just got a fucking shitty deal, and that's that. He goes, so shut the hell up. He goes, I'm Scotty Goldman, so go F yourself. You know, like.
And there's a guy who can truly tell you that and go,
right,
dude,
right. And I was very validated by that. You know.
Yeah.
And same with you. I mean, you've told me over the years, both of you guys, you and Jay both. I mean, I remember, you know, bunking with Jay on some road trips and him, you know, give me some tips on this or that. I remember we were bunking coincidentally when I think I was at TNA when he was still at WWE, and just give me advice on, like, you know, girl problems or this or that or whatever, being on the road too much. And my girl was, you know, insecure and he was giving me his 2 cents worth. And I remember you always saying, you know, I didn't ever want you to go, yeah, I loved it. I always wanted you to say what I could have done better. And I remember one night, it was Tupelo, Mississippi, because I'm an Elvis guy, and it was Elvis's hometown. I remember Steamboat was my agent, and I'm on this card with all you guys where, like, I'm the only, like, me and Eric Escobar were wrestling. We're the only two, like, brand new guys on a card full of, like, Triple H and you guys and Hardy Boys and Undertaker. And then there's just little old me and Eric Escobar, who nobody knows. And we went out and we had I thought it was a really fun match. And I come in the back, and you're the first dude right there, and you're like, dude, that was awesome. Like, I didn't even care that it was wrestling or not wrestling. Like, for one of my, like, mother brothers to tell me something I did was awesome was, like, the coolest thing ever. And then what amplified it was I walked 10 more feet, and I see Ricky Steamboat imitating, like, my silly, weird little swimmy thing that I do at the ring. And he was just like, Kizarney, that was really awesome. So I thought, okay, I just had one of my best pals and one of my idols tell me something I did was awesome. I'm like, that's it. I can, you know, be happy and validated kind of a thing. So it was weird that when all of a sudden, like the next week, you know, stuff went sideways. It was just such a weird, like, I think it all happened so quick that I didn't have a chance to feel anything except stupefied, if that makes any sense.
And that's how it can, it's strange. Like, everybody's path there and out of there are different, you know, and I don't think I've ever heard anybody have the same kind of experience, or like even look at Jay and I, and two completely different experiences. And you look at, like, I don't know, Honky Tonk Man, and his experience would have been different. And you look at, pick a name, and everybody has kind of a different road in and out of there. But after that, you still you've still been going. You didn't stop. And I don't know if people know that, or maybe they do. And I think, people listening to this show probably do, because they're wrestling fans. But you took the character and revamped it, and Warlord of Weird and Sinn Bodhi, and you made it a lot more, well, for lack of a better term, like Captain Spaulding-esque, and really took it down some dark, paths. And I remember like the leather butcher smock and painting your face like the clown and becoming that kind of demented side of the character that I think you always saw it could be in WWE, but obviously now you had the freedom to do that again.
Well, I mean, I always, like, when I got released, I always got the whole, like, oh, it would have worked if it wasn't PG. And I don't know, I kind of disagree with that. I think, like, what I do now is, is creepy or whatever it is. 9 out of 10 shows I do are PG shows. Like, I don't cuss in front of kids. I don't, do anything inappropriate. I go out there and entertain. And God forbid I wrestle, I work the character in my wrestling for sure, but I work how that character should kind of be. And I just think, like, it doesn't have to be PG. It just has to be interesting. And, when I was doing stuff WWE's way, like, they wanted me to, talk in a higher octave, so I sounded, like, less ominous. And they wanted me just to say Carney, that's aggravating, like, with no payoff of, like, what is this guy saying? How fun of a good guy am I if I'm annoying? So when I go out there now, I do, like you said, I do what I want. And somehow that seems to get a pretty good result. Get fans that they're buying T-shirts and clown noses and this and that because I'm fun to watch. I would assume, like, and wrestling guys, like, knock on wood, whoever I wrestle next week, I'm going to clobber for saying this. But I mean, I've got just about an 18-year of track record of not ever hurting anybody, except for busting Jay open with my sweet Barry Windham-esque elbow drop to the face.
Well, also, like, and in talking about where you have the character now and everything, if you go on YouTube and pull up any of Nick's like current promos, which you produce, right?
Yeah. Yes.
These things are...
It's sort of my new... I tell my girlfriend all the time, it's kind of like, that's me, like, being, like, at home, just sitting on my bed with my sketch pad, doodling cartoons. Being on the, the editing suite, doing the video stuff is kind of like my new, like, version of me being a little kid drawing on my sketch pad.
Well, yeah, it's Fred the Possessed Flower come to
totally.
the screen, but with Sinn Bodhi as Fred. And I told you, like, you started sending them to me. I was like, these are ridiculous. Like, these are really cool, awesome, like, weird, but visually, just really cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, listening to you, like, when I send them to you and you give me your 2 cents on them and stuff, like, I think that's awesome that my buddy is taking a minute to, like, tell me something constructive. And then also, too, it's weird. Like, again, it's neat to know, like, these 2 guys, like you and Jay, that are these, my dog's not letting me speak. I'm not allowed to speak for a second, I guess. Doesn't like something. It's like, all right, don't get hot. He's like, the little ones are like the big, loud ones. Like, there's 2 Eaters of Worlds. There's the one and then there's Cookie, my Yorkie poo. And she doesn't let me speak for anything. What the hell were we talking about?
The
promos.
The promos that you record, and then
Yeah, I mean, like, they're just fun to do, and I just kind of letting my sort of inner artsy fartiness just be expressed or whatever. Like, it's funny when I wear that clown paint or whatever. Like, it's not a Halloween thing, it's not a horror movie thing. Like, I'm a pretty silly guy, But I do that stuff, like, is more of like theatrics of, like, we're just watching a good movie. Like, I don't look at a wrestling match like just a bunch of moves. I look at it as a story, and I look at it as a series of moments, and what do I want to get out of those moments, and what kind of ride do I want to take fans along, and I adjust in the ring, but then the same thing, like, I do that same thing with the promos, and that's kind of how I decide, like, am I in a sillier mood today? Am I in a creepier mood today? When I watch movies, and I tell wrestling students all the time, like, if you love Star Wars, you're not going to watch that on fast forward. You're going to watch it on play, and you're going to see all the details. You're not going to skip through and waste anything. So I want to put extra details in those promos or extra details in the matches where people go, oh, did you see what he did? He twitched there and did this weird thing or did this. And that wasn't anything else I saw on the rest of the card, or that's not something I saw in another promo or what have you. So I just like this to be just different and just have some fun. And God forbid, wrestling is fun. So
you're going to stand out on a card.
Well, it's funny. It's funny because like I hear guys in the locker room, hey, you're going to do the 10 punches. Hey, you're going to do the spine buster. Hey, you're going to do the super kick. And I just kind of figured like, well, if I go and do a bunch of really unorthodox stuff, then I don't have to tippy-toe around anybody and worry about getting heat for, using the same maneuver and what creative reference that I do take from thing. Like I've never just been like you said, Spalding. Like I appreciate that I've got like an egg-shaped head and a beard and clown paint, so I can get where you would find Spalding. Just like any white guy with a black ponytail could be made to resemble Steven Seagal, where my references are like so obscure, but a bunch of different references. Like I wouldn't just want to be an Undertaker ripoff or a Doink the Clown ripoff. I like little bits of Taker and Doink and Jake, and then so much stuff outside of wrestling as well, like Green Goblin. D. Schneider was totally, that's Kizarney's like biggest. That was the Kizarney phase of my, the blonde hair and the big red fur coat and all that stuff, the New Church stuff. That was D. Schneider and Green Goblin and all that kind of,
and Rob Zombie,
Adrian Street and Rob Zombie. And all that.
Well,
Adrian Street, all the way from like Adrian Street to like Billy Robinson. Like my references are so obscure, and I take tiny little bits and then I morph it into something my own, and I still kind of put over where I got it. Like I will say Adrian Street, I will say Green Goblin or D. Schneider or Jake or whoever.
Yeah,
and it's for those who haven't seen them, go on YouTube, check them out because they're awesome. They're just really cool, really well done.
Thanks,
and just you'll see people trying to do similar stuff, but this was Nick, and Nick was doing this for a long time, and this has been his vision, and I know because I've been watching it. But they say imitation sincerest form of flattery, right? So, but it's like really, really out there and fun, like visually fun stuff, to watch. And then you use them as your promotion for your next matches. Like these aren't like your classic, okay, I'm coming to get you, brother, like while you're standing with a blanket behind you or something. I
hate when I see indie wrestlers doing the promos from like their living room or their kitchen or wherever. Like I remember
you're
like,
out on location and doing things from like a storm drain somewhere or like a desert or whatever you can find that's just outside the box. And I think that's it's daring and it's good and it's eye catching, and it also shows like how talented you are artistically. And I think that and obviously that is also, I guess, probably the brain, the kind of the groundwork that you laid for the Freak Show Wrestling too, correct? That to kind of just do something completely different.
Mean, when I left, or got punted out, however you want to look at it, when I got released from WWE, I remember just thinking I wanted to do things my way. I just remember thinking like, and no disrespect to WWE, I love it, I still love it, I watch it, but I just remember seeing such great things and then such creatively stifled things. And I just I fell into that category. Like I remember walking through gorilla position to go have that match with MVP, and I remember looking at Dr. Tom, and I kind of gave him like the what the F elbows, like my elbows are up past my ears, like what the heck? And Doc just looked at me and gave me the same thing. I'm like, awesome, So I just remember being kind of stuck in creative weird situations, and it's definitely like a two-way street for me and WWE. I don't blame them, but I don't blame me either. I just think it was just a weird thing that just, if done right, could have been awesome. But I just decided that if left to my own devices, I was going to do what I saw in my brain. And that's where like Dynamite Death Monkeys came in. That's where Good Show Wrestling came in. It was making fun of things. It was having fun with things. It was thinking out of the box. For Freak Show Wrestling, for people who don't know, is like an avant-garde, underground Las Vegas kind of a show that has like magic and burlesque and comedy and hardcore and scary stuff and high flying stuff and, you know, different things all just smashed together into a big giant weird Muppet Show meets Rob Zombie, you know, meets Saturday Night Live kind of a thing. And I just wanted to like just turn the restrictors off. And even though I was sort of like an old school guy at heart, like I think stuff should look real and all that, I don't want to just do like whiffy wimpy little spots or whatever. But a lot of it was a farce. Like I would have, you know, I as an agent, like doing stuff on shows or whatever, like I'd sit there next to D'Lo and we'd throw our papers down, you know, when we'd see guys like pretty much singing Kumbaya, waiting on the outside for a dive. Like they're literally kind of hugging each other, waiting to catch somebody, which just to me just said fake, and it just kind of killed the whole show, you know, and whether fans could put their finger on it or not. So what I would do on Freak Show is I would definitely have guys pretty much singing Kumbaya on the outside, and I'd have like a Zach Galifianakis impersonator holding like the baby from like The Hangover, and he would run the baby and throw the baby over the top ropes, and everybody could see it was a dive a mile away because these guys are literally holding onto each other shoulder to shoulder, and then they would bump for the baby. So it would just be more of a farce, just some stuff that I thought was ridiculous about wrestling, and in many ways what I do sometimes is a farce. And so I'm just, I guess I worked out my wrestling issues with my wrestling and life issues in my character, I suppose, if that makes any sense.
And it's been going since like 2011, right? Like, I mean, it's so obviously
I've been
caught on.
I did the Death Monkeys right out of WWE, and then since 2009, and then Freak Show Wrestling was early 2011, even 2010-ish, some midway between 2010.
Wow.
So it's been a minute. We're old.
So I got to go to bed because I have a 4 a.m. pickup, and I have a feeling this would go all night if we didn't put a cap on it.
Yeah.
So
I understand.
We'll pick back up another time, brother.
I feel like
Pick it
we
up
have
part
to
two,
because
brother.
there's so much stuff that we didn't even get to. But then this thing will
I think
be
we
3
didn't even
hours
start
long.
talking about wrestling until like 90% through anything. It was we didn't even talk about olive poems, dude.
Yeah, no, olives. Yeah,
Well, but again,
Man, so much.
and also why I forget sometimes that we're all in the same. You know, we all kind of grew up in the same industry because of what you just said. 90% of what we talked about was the stuff from like growing up and college and olive poems, and so that's why it gets lost on me sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, even my little brother's the same way. Like he wrestled, and I really had nothing to do with his wrestling career. He went and did all that stuff in like Mexico and all that stuff, where we just had very different careers and lives, and and it was weirdly thanks to Jay of all the shit disturbers in the galaxy. Of course, Jay is the one that made somehow me and Steve get along again after like we had our lifetime of being at each other's throats, and then Jay just said some magical thing that I don't even know to my little brother one day, and then all of a sudden Steve comes over and says, "Hey, we should just get along." And I talked to Jay, and he just figures we should get along. And I said, "Yeah, I think you're right." And then we did. Like we're good ever since.
Yeah,
Jay's
trying
the
to
brother whisperer.
You're trying to-
brother.
Yeah, he's the total brother whisperer, brother.
They're trying to kill my heat.
Yeah. Well, Stu Joffa, he's not always a gazoo. She's just
I actually, all right. I just paid him off. I was like, look, I'll just give you fucking $10,000. Just be nice to him.
Hashtag rich guy
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah. Hashtag rich guy problems. Yeah.
Yes. But I mean, I don't know. Like all these silly adventures were exactly that. I wanted to fill up my life with fun stuff. In a ring or traveling, like all those. You guys asked me about like traveling so much and stuff. Like, being stuck in a little farmhouse outside of Orangeville, as a little kid, and then coming to play in town with you guys always meant I had to get a note to get on a bus or to get off this or get an extra trip in from my mom or my dad to come and play with you guys. So, that was always special for me. And then being stuck in my house by myself always made for like, I'm watching movies and those videotapes of the best of WWF this and then just whatever silly movies. So fast forward to doing those long road trips, and I would see the Arch in St. Louis or Stonehenge or or a desert or an ocean or whatever. I'm like, oh man, I saw this in that movie. And whoever I was either riding with or if I was riding by myself, I would just be like, in awe like of everything. So it was just trying to fill up life with fun moments.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely have to do this again. Before we go though, just give us some information about your wrestling school so people know.
Okay, sweet. So me and Jake the Snake and D'Lo Brown have a wrestling school in Las Vegas called the Snake Pit. It's on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and from there, it's 3 different kind of WWE generations of psychology. So
yeah, it is.
It's good for beginners, but it's really good. It's mainly for guys that are like, between 6 months and 6 years in. So they know how to do their moonsaults and their eye gougers. Now let's show them where to put what and how to brand yourself and what is being a guy on a show. I don't know how much indie stuff you guys watch these days, but if you'll see, just a bunch of guys doing a bunch of cool stuff. There's not a whole lot of, it's Rey Mysterio, it's Boogeyman, it's Demolition, it's Steiner Brothers, it's Barry Windham's and his sweet clothesline. It's all just a bunch of cool guys doing a bunch of cool stuff. So detail work is what we kind of focus on there. And then the other part of the school is Fantasy Slam, which is a fantasy camp, just, like rock and roll or baseball fantasy camp. So if you're totally not wanting to be a wrestler, but you want to kind of check it off your bucket list. If you're an accountant, a plumber, a lawyer, an astronaut, whatever you are, and you want to just come and play wrestler for a couple of days, we'll show you some stuff. We'll tell you some funny stories. We'll take some bumps for you. We'll put you in a funny costume. We'll take some photos, do a video, and it's just a really fun, really silly, playful thing.
Fuck them on the payoff. Let them know how it's really like, brother.
That's it, brother.
Really, really cool idea, though. Like a
Thanks,
super
man.
cool idea. And if I hadn't ever made it in wrestling and ended up being, let's say, an accountant or something, that would have been like a dream come true to go, okay, I can just go at least pretend for 2 days and sit there with these guys, like you said, between you is like, 60, 70 years of experience?
Dude, between me and D'Lo and Jake, there is 85 years wrestling experience.
Wow. So I wasn't that far off. Wow.
Good times, right? And we had like Steamboat come in and do it. He was so awesome. We had Jimmy Hart come in. We got Gangrel coming in 2 weeks to do it.
That's cool.
And like when we sort of put that program together, me and Jake and D'Lo and even Steamboat too, we all had to realize like this wasn't like it's not like we're dealing with coachable talent. This is we're turning guys into John Wayne and Superman. Like whatever they do, like they could just ring our wrist and we just have to make them look like $1 million and keep them safe. So like we want them to not be scared. Like we had so many people ask about the Jake camp when we did Jake's one, and they wanted to be in there so bad, but they were all scared. We're like, no, it's going to be nice. It'll be fun. And then the people that did it, they're like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. And we almost didn't come because we were so scared. Like we didn't want to be anywhere near a DDT or a Damien or whatever.
I'm so excited.
And they
I
realized,
might come do it.
crap, this was super fun.
Oh, did you hear that?
Bird. I'm so excited. I might join the fantasy camp and see if I can work with Jake.
There you go.
Take a DDT.
I think for anybody that wants like just the tiniest of safe, playful taste of what we do, then, I'm a patient, playful guy. D'Lo is a playful, patient guy. Jake is, I suppose, a playful, patient guy. But everybody that's walked out of there has just like, it's so awesome seeing these grown men turn into little kids leaving. And that's how I am. Like, I get excited thinking about it. Like, I watch, again, like how you're talking about imitation and just flattery and all that stuff, like watching like Bray Wyatt, who I helped, the tiniest little bit early in the days, him taking knowledge. And, sometimes he takes a little more than he should, whatever. But, other guys do. And some guys, I think when guys take stuff, it's because they're little kids and they're enamored and they want to be some kind of cool thing. And I don't think guys ever have bad intentions, but I think like...
Well, it's like anything. Like I grew up, I picked from Shawn Michaels. I picked from here. I picked from there. I picked from the guys that I enjoyed watching. I picked from Jake. I picked from Barry Windham, from Mr. Perfect. It's like, okay, I can take this, and make this other thing. And there's nothing truly original in wrestling, right? It's all like you said, you were Adrian Street and Dee Schneider, and like pull from all of these different things that you enjoyed. And
Nick.
But I think I've heard old timers coin this phrase, stealing it fair and square. If you take something from somebody, don't take a whole bunch. Like, don't be a bargain basement Shawn Michaels or a bargain basement Big Papa Pump or whatever you are. Take little moments or things or pieces or whatever, whether it's a bit of a promo, a bit of a costume idea, a bit of a spot idea, whatever, and then morph it into your own, and then still just put over where you got it. Oh yeah, Adrian Street. Oh yeah, Green Goblin. And so, you've got all like kind of like, I don't want to like round the block to cross the street, but going back to like the fantasy camp thing, I think you've got 3 guys in me and D'Lo and Jake that have been around, helped either train or break in a lot of guys over the years. Like I didn't train Bray Wyatt, but I'd like to think I helped break in his mind of, like giving him a lot of that stuff. Whereas look at, Jake's had a hand in like Austin and Taker and all these like awesome dudes that are like just the greatest ever. I mean, this guy kind of helped catalyst these guys, and how many guys D'Lo is trained and so forth. So I think the long and short of Fantasy Slam is like, man, if you're an accountant or a construction worker and you want to come and be a good guy or a bad guy and play safe and have a video to kind of have bragging rights and show, oh, look, I got to, clothesline Gangrel, or I got to, be managed by Jimmy Hart or get arm dragged by Ricky Steamboat, or I don't know, whatever, then Fantasy Slam is pretty cool.
You know what I would do if I came and put my money down and I was in the Fantasy Slam? You know what I would do? I would do a Boy on the Hood on you.
Would you do Andy?
All right. We're not getting into that story because I got to wake up in 4 hours. All right. So you're both fat. I love you both, but you're both fat, and I am going to bed.
All right.
I love you both, and you are both fat as well. My eyes are being pushed down just thinking about how fat you guys are right now.
Yeah. I guess.
No, you.
No, you.
I guess I love you too, guys. Whatever.
No. Fat. Love you. Fat.
He's up.
See you, fat. You're out. No, yet. No.
Fat.
All right, Bird. Well, there's our chat with Nikolai Savetkovich, the Kizarny, the Sinn Bodhi, brother. Do yourself a favor, go check out his YouTube videos. They're very cool. The promos that he does for all of the dates that he has coming up. Dude has a creative. It's a mix of Rob Zombie. It's just he's got so many things hatching in his brain, and now it seems technology has caught up with his brain, so now he can actually get it out.
Yeah.
But check them out; they're pretty cool. They're more than pretty cool. They're just very creative and fun, and yeah.
I remember when we were kids, we get to school and he'd tell me about some weird dream he had. I'm like, dude, what is fucking wrong with you? Like, so yeah, he's been this. He's always had a great imagination, and he was also a really, really talented artist. And he could take his imagination, put it out on paper, and make it come to life. So I mean, he did a lot of comic books and things like that, which he had also talked about. But it was good talk to catch up with him, and it's been a while since I've actually seen him in person. But it was cool to kind of catch up for sure.
Well, Bird, I think it's time. I got to go sling some turkeys, man. I got to go.
Yeah.
I hope you don't get mad at me, because I'm attacking the bird army.
No.
But just trying to feed some families, Bird.
What about the Crimson Cock?
It made me choke on my goo.
Right? The Mauve Mallard.
Mauve Mallard, the Crimson Cock, the Red Rooster. Wow.
Yeah. The Toke Turkey. Yeah. So there's the Survivor Series team.
Yeah. Well, it depends on how.
Yeah.
5 or 4-man format. What do we? Or 4-bird format? What? Jesus.
We need one more bird name.
Here's the thing: we don't have a lot of time on our hands, but yet we have too much time on our hands because we just.
Yeah. It just goes to show you can never have an idle second because bad things or stupid things happen.
Stupid. So. Yeah, we'll go with stupid.
Yeah.
All right, Bert. I gotta go. We're gonna go get some people some Thanksgiving dinners.
Go do some good things in your community, and hope everybody enjoys stateside enjoys their Thanksgiving, brother.
Yeah, and to all you other hosers, just eat anyway.
Yeah.
Cause it's key to survival. I got nothing.
All right. I got nothing left.
Here we go.